Hello. Yesterday here at the English Institute of Sport, the Crucible dream became a reality as 8 snooker players came and conquered all in the qualifiers to ensure their names are in tomorrow's live draw for the 2021 Betfred World Snooker Championship. Today, we gather once more, ready to do it all over again, because it's time to complete the lineup for one of sport's most iconic annual contests. Welcome to Judgement Day Part 2 in Sheffield. Well, good morning, everybody. If all that doesn't whet your appetite for this year's Betfred World Snooker Championship, then nothing will. Less than 3 days to go. All roads, metaphorically and in our case, literally, lead to that fantastic atmospheric old theatre, and don't we love her? We can't wait to get back there. You can see the TV trucks just in the foreground in front of the Crucible as it overlooks Tudor Square. And we will all be there in just a couple of days' time. A very good morning. I'm Rob Walker, and alongside me, socially distanced, the 1997 champion of the world, Ken Doherty.
Even if they weren't social distancing, I'd still be social distancing from you, Rob.
Well, I know.
Particularly if you wear those trainers with that suit.
I can only apologise. I was told that opening piece to camera would be waist up, but I got a sore knee, so I wore the trainers. Anyway.
At least you don't have the boots on. Anyway, there's always a silver lining.
I love those boots. Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan have given me a lot of grief about those. Apparently, the distressed look is trendy. Anyway, from my woeful fashion to the important business of these qualifiers, wasn't yesterday fantastic? We had a little bit of everything. Great comebacks, quality break building. It was an absorbing day of snooker.
Yeah, it was. It was fantastic. And it's great the way we could sort of dip in and out, but we had some cracking matches. I mean, the comeback from Mark Davis, and indeed the comeback from Graham Dotton almost sort of pipped Tian as well, but it was some fantastic stuff. Liam Highfield, of course, he was involved in a terrific match against Yu Long all day yesterday, and this was the blue, and you could see how much this meant to him at the end. Get in there, says he, and it was Tian as well, just mopping up. But 9-7 it got to at one stage when he was 8-1 up. Wow. It was really tense, but he put up a brave fight, Graham Dott, but it just wasn't to be. He's going to have to wait another year. But delighted for Tian Peng Fei. We saw what it meant to him when you interviewed him, Rob. He was quite tearful. He'd been through a lot this year, 3 months in solitary, self-quarantine after getting COVID. And this was Liu Hao Tian. They were embroiled. 5 centuries, wasn't there, in that match yesterday?
Yep, three for Liu and 2 for Chang. It was a wonderful contest. I definitely think we'll be seeing the young 18-year-old who was beaten once again. And then Matt Selt, well, he said, he's been really honest and said 2 Crucible returns is not good enough for a 36-year-old. Well, it's going to be 3. We thought this one might go really late, but he put Scott Donaldson under a little bit of pressure just towards the end of their first session, and the Scot couldn't really find a way back in.
He finished it off really well, didn't he? I thought he played very, very good, Matt Selt, and he has the Crucible sort of experience as well, and he's really looking forward. He's hoping to draw John Higgins as hero, he said.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I can't believe John Higgins is his hero. I thought it was Stephen Hendry.
I'm pretty sure you're quite close to the top of the list. Liang Wenbo played excellent snooker yesterday to beat Lu Ning. Was really high quality from him, as it was from the magic man Mafflin. Poor old Rob Milkins. Well, he couldn't really do much against Kurt Mafflin, the Viking from Norway. The Milkman had done really well to make the final round of qualies, but Kurt Mafflin will be a sizable challenge, literally and metaphorically, when we get to the Crucible.
Yeah, he was another good win, wasn't it? There you see a little bit of emotion. Don't mind that. You could tell how much it meant to Jamie Jones. Played very well against Li Hang yesterday, and that was the final straw. And Jamie Jones back to the Crucible, where he's had some great success there. Mark Davis, the old war horse, coming through from 7-2 down. I mean, Jamie Clark, you have to say, hats off to him. Great sportsmanship there. As good at it as he would have been 7-2 up to lose that match, but you know, very generous in his as he takes the full field. Well, very generous in his congratulations to Mark Davis.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day. We had 3 Englishmen, 3 Chinese players, 1 Norwegian and 1 Welshman through. This is what we've got today. 9 Englishmen, 3 from China, 1 from Belgium, 1 from Switzerland, 1 from Brazil. More on the Samba snooker star in a moment. And another Welshman as well. Luca Bracel against Stuart Bingham. It's the ball run against the Belgian Bullet. That is a fantastic match. Ali Carter and Alexander Ursenbacher. Ursenbacher is the Federer of the Bays. Made his Crucible debut last year. Carter will be up for this. Figueiredo and Mark Joyce. Well, we're guaranteed at least 1 debutante at the Crucible. None made it through yesterday. The Brazilian against the Englishman. Surprising that Mark Joyce hasn't made the Crucible. Riga Masters runner-up a couple of years ago. Another mouth-watering match. The Dynamite Ryan Day, 3 times a Crucible quarter-finalist against a former semi-finalist, Ricky Walden. Good to see the big man from the Northwest coming back to some good form this year. Bai Lang Ning, an 18-year-old playing his first tournament of the entire season. He's been really good value so far this week. He's had a hatful of half-centuries, couple of centuries, taking on the Pinner Potter Martin Gould. Stephen Hallworth, well, he had to ring his boss at the plough to get a couple of days off because he wasn't expecting to make the business end of Judgement Day, the end of the qualifiers against Gary Wilson. It's been a tough season for Gary Wilson, but he is a World Championship semi-finalist. Xiao Xian Tong, really looking forward to seeing this youngster. He's one of the hottest prospects from China, along with probably Yan Bingqiao, maybe the next to take the mantle from Ding, although the 33-year-old isn't finished yet. Up against Sam Craigie. And on table 8, it'll be Chris Wakelin against Zhao Guo Dong. So, potentially, we have 4 or 5 debutantes in the mix to make it through. There will be 1 guaranteed. It'll be the winner on table 3. That's the view from the outside. This is the view from our commentary position. We're calling this the Octo Screen. Well, it's not an official name. We've sort of made it up. But anyway, we'll be rocking and rolling.
Like we do most things, make them up as we
go
along.
Exactly. Exactly. When you're sitting here for 5 hours plus, you've got to come up with a few ideas and a few little changes to the vocabulary. Anyway, we'll be rocking and rolling between all the tables. Just to mark your card, if you're specifically interested in the Bullet against the Ball Run, Bracel against Bingham, you can watch that with traditional commentary and coverage on the Eurosport app. That's table 1. We will be flitting around the grounds, as they say. So, let's have a little look at the very, very early stages of Bracel against Stuart Bingham. Ken, when we saw the draw for the qualifiers as a potential matchup in the last round here at the English Institute, this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, this is the tie it around for me. I mean, there's a couple of cracking matches there in store for sure, but you know, these 2 guys, obviously Stuart Bingham has been there, won it, and Bracel has sort of been in the top 16 as well, so they've got bags of experience, these 2, and it's a tough match for both of them, to be honest, you know, but it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Best of 19, so it's a really good test for them.
Yes, and Stuart Bingham, after Zhao Yulong was knocked out yesterday by that excellent performance from Liam Highfield. Zhao was the highest ranked player to miss out, 17. So unlucky in terms of, you know, whether you have to come through the qualies or you turn up ready to go without having played any matches here at the Institute. But next behind him on 18 is Stuart Bingham. So Stuart was very close. He had a decent run late on this season. I know he didn't get any ranking points for the semi-final of the Masters, but it seemed to kick him into gear a touch. Quarters of the German Masters, quarters of the Players' Champs after beating Judd Trump 6-5 in Milton Keynes. And, you know, it's the first time we'll have seen Stuart trying to come through the qualies in a decade, Ken. Yeah. You know, he's a proven world champion.
Yeah, but that brings a lot of pressure in itself. Like, you know, I know it's only, you know, a couple of matches that he has to win, but the fact that he's been there, he's had so much success at the Crucible that, you know, he wants desperately to get back there again. And if he did, you know, I mean, he's certainly one that the top 16 players would like to avoid in the draw.
15.
but he's going to have his match. He's going to have his, you know, he's going to have to play top snooker for sure, because Luca Brecel is a very, very dangerous opponent. There you see Sean Murphy. As I said, a lot of the top 16, you know, there was a question on Twitter yesterday whether they'd be watching or anything like that, but you can guarantee it, there'd be a lot of the top 16 would be dipping in and out of today's matches, as indeed they were yesterday. As indeed even some of the others. I was just having a little quick word with Gary Wilson. He said, 22. You know, he was trying to get some practice in. He said he was absolutely glued to this, you know, dipping in and out. He couldn't keep his eyes off it. So yeah.
Well, we're glad everybody's enjoying it. I believe it's the only time in a season, Ken, that we do have this setup where we can rock and roll from one table to another. I know there'll be purists who say, well, you know, I want to focus on one table. Well, you can watch this one with uninterrupted commentary, but there's just, you know, it's a lovely opportunity for us to show the drama on every table, because you know, I know we've said this a couple of times on and off camera this week, Ken, and those who are real stalwarts of snooker will already know this, but if people are dipping in and out, it is impossible to sufficiently contextualise how much tension there is in the air here in this last round of qualifiers. It's ridiculous. You can cut the atmosphere with a knife, can't you? Yeah.
I mean, it's just a shame there's not anybody in here to witness any crowd, because that would make it very, very special. But we're delighted that some crowds are going to be allowed in right from the start of the Crucible this year. So that's what these players who get through will be able to look forward to and witness at the Crucible, which it's only in a few days' time on Saturday, of course, which is we're all excited about.
Yes,
in the meantime,
it's coming.
Yeah, he looks very. He's taking his time, isn't he? I mean, early stages, but you know, he wants to try and stamp his authority early on in this match and try and get as many points on the board, settle himself down. But as I said, he's a lovely player to watch, Brecel. He's very, very quick.
$37.
Yeah, do you know what? I saw him in breakfast this morning. He was accompanied by his good mate Alexander Ersenbacher, who we'll go and we'll have a little saunter around the grounds in just a moment, and we'll be looking at Ali Carter and Alexander Ersenbacher on table 2. They both looked so relaxed this morning, Ken. You would never have thought the banter between them and just relaxed over breakfast. You'd never have thought they were, you know, an hour and a half away from playing a huge match. I think both of them have come into their respective Judgment Day matches with a great attitude.
Yeah, they're always just thick as thieves, those two, aren't they? at the venues. They both got tough matches on. Of course, Ersenbacher is playing Ali Carter on table 2. We'll dip over to that as soon as we can. Well, we're going to stick with this for the time being, but yeah.
$46.
Couldn't just get by the blue. You saw his head bow in disappointment. Wanted to just get top side of the blue, so he may just pot the blue and then play a safety shot on the pack of reds. With a 43-point lead, could put the green safe if he wished, or one of the ball colours. The green on the right hand side cushion wouldn't be a bad idea. The 5 points is not going to make much of a difference, so green, drop the green onto the right hand side cushion and keep the cue ball close to the ball cushion as possible.
Luca Brecel, 46.
Right, so a nice good start from Luca Brecel. We'll take you round the grounds in order, but we thought we'd better have a little look at Zhao Gudong, putting together a very useful opening poke, as Stuart Bingham likes to call it, on table 8 against Chris Wakelin. Zhao Gudong has been to the Crucible 3 times, 2014, 2017 and 2018. Lost to Ding 10-3, didn't make it into Judgment Day last summer, and this is a perfect start for him in this big occasion on table 8.
Yeah, I like Gudong. I must say he's got really good cue ball control, good temperament, and this is a good start for him. May start with a century. plays here and lives here in Sheffield, of course. Plays at the Ding Junhui Academy with the likes of Tian, who got through yesterday.
That was one of my favourite interviews yesterday. He was so emotional.
Yeah.
Three months
Yeah.
in self-isolation.
Yeah, you could see how much it sort of has affected him in a way. But he's come out stronger. I mean, the way he played yesterday was just magnificent against the former champion Graham Dott. And the way he sort of held himself together. But Gudong is, yeah, he's a bit underrated, you know, but from watching him play over the last couple of years, and indeed seeing practice up there, and I practiced with him many times, he's really, his cue ball is very, very good. I'm surprised he hasn't done better actually in his career. Now he's been quite consistent and he's done well in that shootout a couple of years, but in the other tournaments I'm just a little bit surprised that he hasn't got more results. But this is a very, very good start for him today.
First century on Judgement Day Part 2. Yeah, runner-up in the shootout in 2017, runner-up in Shanghai 8 years ago, and he's had a few semi-finals. Australia back in 2014, Gibraltar World Grand Prix a couple of years ago. But yeah, he is a huge talent. Somebody fancied to do great things in snooker. Still only 32, so he's a year younger than Ding. We'll stay with this one and just see what he finishes on, and then we'll head back over to table 2 and take you round each of the matches.
Yeah, it's been a good break. I see Zhao Xintong has already got into his stride. He's on a 74. Ali Carter on table 2, 68 break against Orsenbacher as well. But this has been a wonderful break from what we've seen, the latter part of it. And great start. Just exactly what you want, isn't it, in a best of 19, starting off with a nice century break. Well played, Zhao Gudong.
Superb from Zhao Gudong. Now, let's get straight over to table 2. Ali Carter in pole position in this match against Alexander Ursenbacher, who now requires snookers in this opening frame. Do you know, it's funny, Ken, and we said the same yesterday about Graham Dott. You'd think that having done so much in the sport that these guys would be fairly relaxed about coming through the qualifiers. I know Ali Carter hasn't won the title, but he is a 4-time ranking event winner. He's been in the final twice. He made the semis in 2010. He was really nervous before the match against Pang Jung-Siu, and Pang, you know, came back a little bit. He was 4-1 up Ali Carter and then ended up having to work quite hard for that one. It still means a great deal, and I think having missed out last year, losing in the last 80 to Louis Heathcote, Carter is absolutely desperate to finish this season at the Crucible.
Can you pick that up for us?
I think he's played quite well in patches, Ali Carter, this year. But he's, as you said, he's proven quality. We see the rest has come off the hook, so the referee can't touch it. They're the rules, and of course Ali, it's not his rest, so he can't touch it either. So Ursenbacher, even though he's been sat down on his chair and had to admire this break from Ali Carter, he has to get up out of his chair and put his own rest back, even though it has nothing to do with him. They're the rules.
Do you know what, though? Just seeing the little exchange between the two of them, I think Ursenbacher really fancies this. I mean, it's a brilliant start by Ali Carter, absolutely superb, but he's so relaxed, him and Luca Bracel. He knows that he can come through the qualifiers, as he did last summer against Andrew Higginson. I know he was disappointed with only taking 2 frames off Barry Hawkins at the Crucible, but I don't think this is as one-sided as it may appear on paper. I think the young Swiss player will be up for this.
He's a dangerous player, Orsenbacher, particularly if he gets on a roll. He can fire off frames very, very quickly indeed. But this is a wonderful start from Ali Carter. Standard very, very high, even though there's so much at stake. And these players have producing some good stuff. Let's see if he can finish off total clearance here. He looks to be queuing very nicely indeed, Ali Carter. Not without his own problems off the table. You spoke to Liam Highfield, and you know what it meant to him and the problems he's had off the table with Crohn's. Ali Carter has been through something very similar with the Crohn's and indeed cancer as well.
121.
But he's battled back. It's good to see him back in full health and playing so well.
Especially after having to withdraw ahead of the quarter-final of the Welsh Open against Ronnie O'Sullivan. We were a bit worried that perhaps we'd lost him for the season and maybe he was going to have to take some time off to recuperate. So it is good to see him back to full health and fitness. What a break. Absolutely superb. We've seen a 1-3-3 from Zhao Gudong on table 8 and a 1-3-9 from Ali Carter on table 2. Talk about a declaration of intent. Now, from a brace of centuries to a hat-trick. What a day this is for Igor Figueiredo, bidding to become the first Brazilian and the first South American to make it all the way to the Crucible. This is a great story, Ken. Apparently, in Brazil, I didn't know this until recently, I started doing some research, that their tables are 10 feet. He only started playing on a traditional size snooker table at the age of 32. And here he is, just around about a decade later, in with a chance for the second time. He has played at Judgement Day before in 2015, losing out to Robin Hull. But a second opportunity here for Igor Figueiredo to make some history for himself, his country and his continent. And what a start this is. We thought he would be very, very nervous, but this will help settle him down against Mark Joyce.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see him play so well, actually. You know, I know he's fallen on and off the tour. It's been quite difficult for someone coming from so far away, but I think he's done brilliant this year. And I know he plays up in that academy up in Darlington. But it's good to see him play so well, and as you said, nice century to start, one match away, and it would be history in the making if he could make it through. Nice lad, Igor.
Just to clarify, this finished around about a minute or so to go, so this is still the opening frame. We just wanted to turn it round. We had an embarrassment of riches with opening frame centuries all over the place, so the scoreline won't go to 2-0. It's just clarifying that as it stands at the moment, as a result of this fantastic century, Figueiredo has taken the opener. I'll just stay with this one. We're going to quickly dip past table 4. Plenty to talk about between Ryan Day and Ricky Walden, but they've gone to a re-rack. So the next table we'll have a look at is table 5. Bai Lang Ning against Martin Gould. In fact, change of plan. Looks like Stephen Hallworth is in the balls on table 6. So we'll just see the end of this fantastic break from Igor Figueiredo. Perfect start, well done to the Brazilian. That'll settle him down. Right, table 6, Stephen Hallworth. Perfect start for him. Definitely the underdog, and that's no disrespect to him, against Gary Wilson. Gary Wilson, world number 22. Stephen Hallworth, world number 109. He's had to win 3 matches to get through to the last qualifying round and get a couple of days off his other job, working in the plough.
He's certainly ploughing his way through this match very quickly, and anyway, that's for sure.
You've gone
a bit early.
You've gone early there, Doherty. Come on. A perfect start for Stephen. He worked so hard to get back on Q School. Had a 2:30 match against Alfie Burden. Right then, let's nip back to table 4. They've had the re-rack, so it's Day against Walden. Fantastic action all the way through here. By the way, before we start waxing lyrical about these two, and there is a lot to say, apart from being able to watch table 1, uninterrupted coverage on the Eurosport app. We're delighted to welcome you if you are tuning in via either the World Snooker Tour Facebook or YouTube channels or the Sportsman's Facebook or YouTube channels. And such is the interactive nature of the modern world, mobile phones, the bane of our lives at times, but on other occasions they're quite useful, such as today. If you'd like to pose a question to the 1997 world champion, or if you have a fact or a figure or a query, or you want to correct a mistake, we did make a couple yesterday, we apologise. We're only human after about 8 or 9 hours on air. Anyway, if you'd like to get in touch with either of us on Twitter, please do. If you want to get in touch with the social media team, at WeAreWST, I'm on at Rob Walker TV, and the main man alongside me at Ken Doherty 1997. And apparently your tweets are easier to find if you add the hashtag #ILoveSnooker. So that's how you can get involved and ask us a question or just give your own thoughts. And speaking of thoughts, Ken, this is another one of these matches of the round. I mean, Ryan Day, for so many years, we thought he might be one of the most talented players never to win a ranking title. Then came Riga in 17, Gibraltar in 18, and he's won the shootout this season. Equally, Ricky Walden. It's a long time since he made the single table setup. He's won 3 major titles, all of them in Asia. I think there have been signs this season that Ricky's starting to find it again.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I just had a little word with him just before he went out. Just managed to meet him there just after his practice, and I was just asking, because he's had a lot of back problems, hasn't he? I mean, he's suffered with his back for many years, and but that seems to have sort of repaired itself, thankfully, and he's back out running now, he tells me. So he's doing about like 8 to 10k a day, which is great. So he feels a lot better, he feels a lot fitter, and no sort of pain in his back anymore, which is good news for Ricky, because he's been plagued with that for many a year. But yeah, this is I think this is going to be a really tough match for both players, really, and it could go right to the wire, this one. I know Ricky has started off pretty well, but Ryan Day, quality player as well, and there's going to be a lot of big breaks, I think, in this match. The match I'm sort of keen on seeing as well is to see how Zhao Xing does against Sam Craigie. I mean, 2 young guys, very, very talented, very quick, and make a lot of breaks as well. So that could be quite an interesting, not one on the Richter scale, but certainly you know, one that the snooker players will certainly know about and know how talented these 2 boys are. So that's one that I'll be keeping casting a little eye on, and I'm sure we'll dip in and out of it as the day goes along, Rob.
We certainly will. We'll have plenty of time. An outstanding beginning. So many of these matches. You've just joined us. We've seen an Ali Potter 1-3 and an Igor Figueiredo 1-3-3. We've had a Zhao Guodong 1-3-3 as well. Absolutely phenomenal. Right, Ricky Walden going well in the early stages of the second. Let's hop along to table 5. Bai Lang Ning against Martin Gould, the Pinner Potter. Apparently, commentator's curse there. So
He's won it. Bai Lang Ning has won the first frame.
Yeah, and that's quite important, I think, for him to settle down. They've never played against each other, and we'll come back to that one.
Table 7, maybe. Let's have a look at table 7. Let's have a look at a few shots of Zhao Xing, because I don't know whether you've seen much of him, Rob, but I tell you what, of all the Chinese players, this guy really, really impresses me.
Everyone on the circuit is very, very excited about this 24-year-old. So much potential, so much talent. Wasn't able to take part in the qualifiers last summer, but made it through for his one and only appearance back in 2019. And having beaten Matt Selt in the qualifiers on Judgement Day a couple of years ago, he played well against Mark Selby for 10-7. He's also made the semis of the China Championship, 3 major quarterfinals, the Welsh in 19, Germany last year, World Grand Prix last year.
Yeah.
Semi-finals of both championship leagues this season, the first one back in the autumn that was a ranking event, and then the most recent one. He's the real package, isn't he?
He's just got a lovely touch. I mean, there was a lovely little shot with reverse side. Well, you just watch his cue action. I mean, he's got a wonderful touch. He's got a lovely style. He's you know, fast. He's got great power in his cue as well, and he goes about his business very, very nicely indeed. But just watch the way he strikes the ball. Okay, just off the black. I know it's not much, but he's got a, you know, he's got a nice way about him. He's got very nice style. Snooker players can pick out, you know, just from watching a player, just strike a ball and the style and action, and this guy has it all for sure. He hasn't had as much success as some of the others like Zhu Yulong or Gu Dong, and of course Yan Bingtao has really set the world alight very, very young. So he's had to watch those guys with all their great success. So hopefully it's inspired him. He seems to have sort of knuckled down and got a few results this year, and I think he's gonna. You know, for me, of the Chinese players, of the young Chinese players coming through, I think this guy could win something in the next couple of years for sure.
Would you rank him? I mean, I know this is only subjective, but you spend a lot of time with these guys, as you've been based here in Sheffield for the last couple of months. Would you rank him in terms of potential then? Would you say he's very, very close behind Ding and Yan Bingtao?
I think, you know, Zhu Yulong and Bingtao are sort of behind Ding now. Of course, Wenbo is still there and thereabouts. He's got lots of experience. But this guy, yeah, for me, I think of a lot of the Chinese players I've seen, I think, and a lot of them are very, very talented, don't get me wrong, but I think this guy can really do something, go far, go really deep in a major tournament, you know. You just see from the way he's just sort of mopping these up. It's very casual, not got a care in the world, and it looks very, very relaxed, you know.
Yeah, this is a brilliant start from Zhao. So many good performances already. Alexander Ursenbacher's on a break of 48. Remember, Ali Carter took that first with a 139. Let's go back there, actually, just to table 2. Certainly seemed very relaxed when Ali was in the balls, sharing that joke as he replaced some of his ancillary equipment that had fallen down. Colin Humphreys not allowed to touch.
50.
I remember interviewing him, Ken, last summer here. It's such a bizarre backdrop. It really was. There were hospital beds everywhere here around the athletics track. They were going to use this as a supplementary intensive care unit, and thankfully not needed. And I remember we had to do the interviews out by the athletics track, and Ursenbacher was beside himself with emotion, having beaten Andrew Higginson and qualified to make history for Switzerland. And you know, this season he's followed it up quite well. You know, that was a fantastic win over Ronnie in the last 64 at the UK Champs in December.
Yeah, what a shot he's taken on there. He's one of these. He's very fluent. He buzzes around the table, and you know. But I tell you what a potter he is. I mean, I practiced with him up down in Dunstable, in Sonny Singh's wonderful club down there, and he's so talented, so fast. Sometimes too fast, I think, for his own good. But he's very, very talented snooker player for sure. And he's getting a few results over the last couple of seasons as well. He won't be happy with that miss. Just pushed a bit aside on the cue ball. A chance for Ali for a counter attack. But yeah, very, very talented player.
By the way, Bai Lang Ning on table 5, having taken the first, is first in frame 2 as well. The 18-year-old will have plenty of time to talk about him. Let's just take a quick look, if we may. Table 6, we've been trying to get over there for a little while. We'll keep a close eye on this, whether Ali Carter can come back into this second frame. Ursenbacher still with a fairly healthy lead. So table 6 is Stephen Hallworth and Gary Wilson. This is just a moment or two ago. We're trying to bring you the best of each of these frames. So although we're going to be live as often as we possibly can, if we just see the end of something quite special, we'll turn it round as fast as possible, and that's exactly what we've done here. So the 1-1 is as it stands now. So this is a couple of moments ago, just watching Gary Wilson. Missed that one, but he'd made sure of the frame, and all of a sudden it's one apiece there. It was a fine visit from him. Back to table 2 to see whether Carter can capitalise on Ersenbacher's.
These are the type of frames, aren't they, Rob? You know, right early in a match, that when your opponent's been in, made 58, got a 58-0 lead, and these are the times where you know, if you make a counter attack here and you win the frame, you steal the frame, it really hurts. It puts your opponent on the back foot straight off the bat, you know, so early in the match. I know it's a best of 19, but you know, it's a very famous saying about not settling down until you win that first frame. But when you lose a frame like this, it does set you back quite a bit, you know. And Ali Carter, with all his experience, will be all too aware of how important this visit is, even if it is so early in the match.
Igor Figueiredo is in again. Mark Joyce broke down on 16. Eagles in on the same scoreline in the second frame. Had a text message from Mike Dunn. Just pressing the code so I can quickly read it. Thanks, Mike. All the Q House players are watching Igor back at the Q House Academy. He's done over 10 hours a day. People were wondering whether that was an exaggeration or just a slip of the tongue. Apparently, up at the Q House, they call him the Hulk. Thanks very much for your text message and your insight there, Mike.
Well, I don't want to see him get angry today, that's for sure. I know Mike gets angry very easily, all right, but I don't know about Igor.
Mike will be coming down. Mike will be coming down to commentate on the seniors. That feels like it's, you know, about 7 weeks away still, but it'll roll around quite quickly. We'll stay with this and just see.
Yeah, it's an important visit, this, isn't it?
Whether Ali Carter can nick this frame. This would hurt, but we'll keep a close eye on Figueiredo, who's now on a break of 23 on the next table along.
Let's see, will he take this red on into the yellow pocket, or will he just play a safety shot?
Ali Carter, 31.
Right, let's nip next door, if we may, and have a little look whilst Alexander Ersenbacher contemplates the setup here. So table 3, Figueiredo and Mark Joyce. The one match that guarantees us a debutante in tomorrow's draw, which incidentally, 11 o'clock, live on the Eurosport app and the various platforms through which you can be watching today. I'll be heading over the Snake Pass, hopefully not running into any traffic problems like John Higgins. Sean Murphy's still watching. Great to have your company, Sean. We'll check our tweets, and just in case you've given any specific comments shortly. Yeah, we'll be heading over the Snake Pass. John Parrott will be meeting us there, and the head of Betfred, Fred Doan, will be doing the draw. So guaranteed one at least debutante. We've got almost half a dozen in action here this morning and this afternoon. Perfect start from Igor, the 1-3-3. Do you know, when I was doing my notes for this, Ken, I was surprised that Mark Joyce has never played at the Crucible.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that. Igor Figueiredo, I know he's called the Hulk, but he reminds me of Tony Drago. He doesn't play as fast as Tony Drago, but there is an uncanny sort of similarity between him and Tony Drago. I don't know.
Oh, what do you think? That is a great shout. If I take my glasses off, I reckon just the kind of the physical presence and the outline and the wavy black hair.
Yeah.
I'll give you a 65% Tony Drago. This is nice, isn't it? Look at this. United States Snooker Association. Love to wish Igor, representing all the Americas. Absolutely, he's representing continent as well as country. He earned his World Snooker Tour card, winning the 19 Pan American Snooker Champs in Houston, Texas. Great stuff. Thanks for tuning in over there. Can't remember exactly what time it'll be, but pretty early. Dedication to the cause. And it gives you an insight, Ken. Snooker is now a global sport. Jason Ferguson, chairman of the WPBSA, doing his very best to spread the word and get snooker into the Olympics. That's the long-term view. There are pockets of influence all across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just checked at what time it is in Houston, Texas at the moment. It's 5:35 in the morning, so there is a real snooker lover over there. Congratulations, and keep up the good work they're doing over there, because they've been promoting snooker very successfully throughout the Americas, and it's great to see. I follow you on Twitter, and it's fantastic. So they're very, very proud of Igor Figueiredo. Tell you what, he's got plenty of cue power as well, Igor Figueiredo. He's one of those players that can screw like a ball that's in the jaws of a pocket, and the cue ball may be in balk, and he could pot the red and screw the cue ball all the way 12 foot back to balk. He's one of those players. We'd be happy with that 35-point lead, not too much damage done. And the way the balls are situated, he's a big favourite for the second frame as well. So where are we going next, Rob?
Right, I was just having a quick look. There's so many tweets and comments. We'll get around them as.
You wanted to have a look at Bai Lang Ning,
yes,
wasn't it?
Yeah, I would, because I'd like to get your opinion on him, if I may. So let's head over to table 5. Figueiredo going well here. I was running the numbers on Bai this morning when I was doing a little bit of prep. I mean, it's the first event he's played in the entire season. I'm guessing that's because of COVID-related travelling scenarios. Yeah. He's come through Alan Taylor, 6-4. He's played the final match of Alan McManus's career, 6-3. Yeah. Ben Wollaston, he's beaten 6-5, and he was 4-1 down. And across those 3 matches, Ken, he's had 2 centuries and 8 half-centuries. Martin Gould just heading off for a little comfort break, as it were. He's quite a talent, this young lad.
Yeah, he is, yeah. I saw him play, actually. I watched the match against Alan McManus and the end of it, and how he sort of held himself together. I was very, very impressed with it, I must say. Good start from him, 2-0 against Martin Gould.
Very good start indeed. Right, if you were with us yesterday, you may be aware that we've been showing these animations known as Crucible Chronicles. Yesterday, we had Dennis Taylor telling a story in his own inimitable style. We've shown one from John Higgins and the 2018 world champion. That's my favourite so far. Mark Williams talking his way through, going for a late night kebab and a naked press conference. Follow that 2010 world champion Neil Robertson, if you dare. Here is Robbo's Crucible Chronicles in his own words.
When I played the late great Alex Higgins, who was my hero, who inspired me to take up snooker, play snooker, want to be a professional and trying to win the World Championship. I was the last player to actually play Alex Higgins at the Crucible. And I was a little bit nervous, because when you play Alex Higgins, you don't know what to expect. He's fidgeting in his chair. He was a little bit inebriated, as you might say. And as the match wore on, he got very jittery and argumentative with the referee, John Williams. And at one stage told John Williams to stand on his left-hand side. And John Williams says, "No, Alex, I've been standing here all day. I'm not in your line of sight." And Higgins replied, "You're not in my line of sight, John. You're in my line of thought." And I thought it was one of the greatest lines that I've ever heard. But I don't know what he meant by it. But it was a tough match. I ended up winning in the end. But it was sort of a hollow victory, because here was my hero. It was the last time that he ever played at the Crucible, and I beat him. It was just great to play the great man in such an auspicious tournament and such a wonderful place as the Crucible.
Well, we will bring you Neil Robertson's Crucible Chronicles at some stage. There was a little bit of a flick of fingers and the wrong button was pushed. But anyway, that was excellent. Ken, what's it like seeing a cartoon version of yourself?
Well, I was waiting for the Robbo cartoon version. I thought, don't tell me he's changed his hairstyle again, Robbo. But yeah, it is a little bit strange. And Jimmy White poking his head around the corner there as well. But yeah, no, it is a little bit strange. But I do like these chronicles, I must say. I thought the one with Mark Williams yesterday was very funny, and Dennis Taylor. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of them. The John Higgins one I didn't know about, where he was coming across the Snakes Pass at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Thought he was going to get lost. But yeah, they're very, very funny. Very well done.
They are, and the story behind them, by the way, we'll be dipping into another table very soon. The story behind them, it's a Londoner. He's a huge snooker fan, ended up living in Greece, and somehow he was put in touch, or the World Snooker Tour guys found him, and he's been virtually doing those pieces for World Snooker for fun. I believe each one takes him a week. That's how much effort is involved. Right, Alexander Ursenbacher has gone one apiece on table 2. Just having a quick look at the scores. Let's have a look, if we may, at table 7. Zhao Xiantong has taken the first 2 frames. Sam Craigie is in front and at the table. 27-year-old, hoping to make it through for a Crucible debut.
60.
And it's the first time that Sam has contested Judgment Day. Victories over Ashley Hugill and whitewash against Hossein Vafai. But he's always come up short in the last 80. A couple of years ago to Tom Ford, 10-8. And last summer, he lost out to Anthony Hamilton, who ended up winning a place at the Crucible and then deciding not to take up his option to play Kyron Wilson over concerns of COVID. So it is Sam Craigie's turn to make it through to Judgment Day this year. Quarter-finalist out in China 2 years ago. He beat Liang Wenbo and Ali Carter before losing to Neil Robertson 6-0. So he has got towards the business end of a couple of tournaments, and he played really well in the Pro Series, Ken. Massive paycheck of over £20,000 and therefore very useful 20,000 ranking points. This is a big match for Sam Craigie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a nice little tweet from Neil Russian as well. Showing bits of all the games gives me a great introduction to the lower ranked players who will be the future of the sport. Thanks, Neil. Yeah, it's great to be able to see all these matches and dip in and out. Yeah, but Sam Craigie, very impressed by him. And as I said, he's a talented young player. Did well in that Pro Series. I said, got a nice check, and that would have helped his rankings. He's quite a clever player. Got a good head and the shoulders, and when he gets going, yeah, he can be a handful. But he's up against it today. Zhao Xiantong has started off very fast indeed. It'll be an interesting match, this one, as indeed most of them, all of them of course, are going to be. Lots of pressure out there for all the lads. All want to be in that draw tomorrow. 12 o'clock tomorrow, is it?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock tomorrow.
Betfred's headquarters over in Salford in Manchester. Really looking forward to that. There's always such a sense of anticipation.
Got a nice little picture from Sean Murphy, who's doing a bit of practice but has his iPad close by, watching the snooker as well, joining us this morning. He'll be dipping in and out, I'm sure. There's a lovely pot from Zhao Xiantong, and he's nicely on this pink into this left centre. This could be very, very interesting here, Rob. He's what, 39 points in arrears, but the balls are there for a really good possible clearance if you can. That one's gone astray slightly.
By the way, Ricky Walden started very brightly against Ryan. 2-0 up. He was on a break of 51. He's broken down. So Ryan will be very keen to get a frame on the board and bring a halt to that Walden momentum. Chris Wakelin has levelled against Zhao Guodong at 1 apiece. He was on a break of 45. He's broken down. And Zhao is on a little response of 16. So we'll keep a close eye on that one. But let's stay with this and see whether Zhao Xiantong is able to keep this going.
Oh, good pot into the Middle pocket there off the side cushion, but he's going to need another good one. This takes really good cueing, this coming across the nap. Oh, beautiful. Wonderful shot. Actually, a little bit pacey with the cue ball, but still a wonderful pot.
14.
Sam Craigie missed the red into the
15.
left centre pocket. It wasn't easy, a little bit hampered with his cueing. But they're all there, Rob. I mean, let's see how, if you can hold his nerve here and try and clear the table.
19.
The one sort of awkward red would be that red near the balk line, but as you see, it's quite a good bit away from the cushion, so it's not, wouldn't be too problematic.
25.
I think when he came on the scene as a young boy, 17-year-old, he was a little bit loose, as you can imagine, you know, but I think he's matured over these last season or two, this young lad. Now this is the big shot. If he gets on this red nicely. Yeah, he's got on it beautifully. That's not too bad. He'll settle for that. That being on it, it'd be better for a right-handed player, obviously, on this side of the table, but he's got to use the rest and probably his extension as well.
Getting towards the business end of the third frame between Ryan Day and Ricky Walton. Ricky having taken the first two. He's got a sizable lead in the third. But Ryan at the table. Just a couple of reds left on. We'll get over to that one if it's still going, after seeing whether Zhao Xin Tong can capitalise on that Sam Craigie mistake and go 3 on the bounce.
Yeah, good pot, wasn't it, with the rest? Could have played for the yellow, but decided to play for the brown. He's got a perfect angle on the brown here, just to drop off the ball cushion for the yellow.
It's amazing how quickly the time goes, Ken. We've been on for the best part of an hour. It just flies.
Yeah, flies by.
Absolutely flies by.
When you're dipping in and out as well, isn't it? The time goes so much quicker. Now this is the big shot. It's perfect on the yellow. Just pushes the cue ball up past the balk line nicely for the green into the same pocket. Well played. Yeah. Good start from him. This will certainly hurt his opponent. Point ahead, so he's going to need brown, blue and the pink. Oh, a lovely little bit of side there. Quick look at the scoreboard. Yeah, this has been top quality, hasn't it?
Nerveless from the 24-year-old. Well done, Zhao Xin Tong. 3 frames to the good. Just a single table outside them. Xiao Guodong responding after Chris Wakelin took the lead in this third frame. Levelled the scores at 1 frame apiece. Xiao Guodong made the second round at the Crucible back in 2017. He beat Ryan Day 10-4 and then played Mark Selby in
66.
Lost 13-6, so he's got good experience. back in Judgement Day for the first time in a couple of years. Excellent start after Chris Wakelin levelled the scores at 1 apiece. And that came after his fireworks in the opener. 1-3-3. So Zhao Gudong takes the initiative once again in the early stages of this match. Right, we'll head over to table 6. Good work there from Zhao Gudong. Table 6, remember, is Stephen Hallworth against Gary Wilson. This was from a couple of moments or so ago. This was Gary Wilson edging towards a 2-1 advantage. You know what? He's in his second appearance. Strange, really, when you think he was knocked out in the first round in 2017, and then 2 years later he beats Bracel, Selby, Carter, and ends up playing a fascinating match against Judd Trump. That was good work. That was him moving for 2-1. So we know he's got incredible pedigree, Gary Wilson, and he is the favourite in that match against Stephen Hallworth. But he'll be hoping to get back to the kind of form that took him to the single table setup. Right, let's go back, if we may, to table 3, please. Igor against Mark Joyce. They've been stuck on these scores for a little while. Igor, after that magical opener of 1-3-3. Interesting setup here.
Yeah, he's got a good lead, 40 points, just 51 remaining. He can see the red that's close to the green pocket. And what's he going to try here? Maybe try and leave the cue ball on the ball cushion. Yeah, decent shot there. I think he's improved an awful lot, Igor Figueiredo, over the last season for sure. Obviously all that practice up there in the, the Q House Academy up in Darlington, and playing with the likes of the other boys up there. Zhu Yulong, I know, plays there. Tep Chaya plays there. Sonny Akani. There's plenty of practice partners up there to play against. I'm sure there's a few more professionals that play up there as well. Managed, of course, by Mike Dunn. So I'm sure all that practice up there with those boys has really done him, sharpen him up, Igor Figueiredo.
Yep, I love that nickname, the Hulk. Maybe we'll have to adopt that if he does make his Crucible debut. Well, all throughout the 8 or 9 days, myself and the guys in the World Snooker Tour press room, Sam, Hot Rod and Ben, have been picking up the interviews that I haven't done. And they had a word or two with Igor Figueiredo about the pressure, expectation and opportunity that presents itself on Judgement Day.
Too much emotion. I don't know, I lead Twitch or crying, or I don't know, because I work a lot for this moment. And after, I just remember God to speak, thank you for this moment, to give me this moment. Maybe I don't sleep today to think about this. As a first dreams, because everyone, I think the big dream is world champion, but my dreams visit one time Crucible, because first South America player possible to visit first time Crucible. I just started to play snooker, maybe you don't believe, in 2009, 32 years old. I never played full size in my life. I'm so happy to improve, because I think I improved a lot, because this tournament, World Tour, have amazing players. I just started 32 years old, believe in myself, working hard. Now I'm still here. I'm feeling star player.
You cannot help but like Igor. It's a great story. It's got a compelling narrative, but there's one more match to go, and you know, just as it would be a great story for him to make it, so Mark Joyce and all his friends and family will be desperate that his name is called out and he walks down the famous carpeted stairs. But that is quite some achievement, even just to give himself the opportunity to get to the Crucible, having only started playing in 2009. It's a great story, Ken.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know his fellow countryman who was on the tour for a couple of years, Itaro Santos as well, will be very proud of him. Yeah, but I mean, the commitment and, you know, the sacrifice that he's put in, as indeed a lot of the players from overseas have, to try and make it, you know, to try and realise their dreams. And it's a wonderful story. And, you know, would everybody be happy apart from Mark Joyce and, of course, his family? But, you know, it would be a wonderful story if he did get through. But Mark Joyce is, you know, he has his own story as well. He's been around on the circuit for a long time. It's quite surprising, actually. I mean, that he hasn't already been to the Crucible, because he's had quite a bit of success, you know, himself. Over, was he at the final of in Riga as well, wasn't it? That was his best sort of ranking event. But he's been so consistent over the years. He's beaten a lot of top players. I remember, did he beat Judd Trump in the UK Championship once as well? Mark Joyce. So
yep, two quarterfinals, 2010 and 2017.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story, this, for both players, you know, for the first time to try and get to the Crucible.
Ali Carter's on a little break of 26, by the way, leading against Alexander Ursenbacher in the third. They're at one frame all. Ryan Day, I noticed, was on a useful break of 38, and then he broke down. So Ricky Walden is in again on table 4, hoping to head to the mid-session interval with a 4-0 lead. Now let's just see if this long red goes in, and we might nip across to see. It's nicely done by Mark Joyce. Let's stay with this then, and let's stay with this and see whether Mark Joyce can level, but we'll keep a close eye on whether Ricky Walden goes 4-0 heading into their mid-session interval.
I think he's just missed, and Ryan Day is back in, actually, Robbie. Ricky Walden missed his chance. Ryan Day back in with a red, and now looks to be in amongst the balls with a slight lead. Let's see if we can. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. He's 46 points in the lead, Ryan Day, but he's in amongst the ball. Should really put his first frame on the board there, and that's just come at a good time just before the mid-session interval.
Well, and as we found out yesterday, Ken, even seemingly impossible scorelines can be turned around.
Yeah.
The battler from Hastings, 7-2 down and wins 10-8.
Yeah, quite incredible, wasn't it? And even Graham Doff from 8-1 down, getting it back to 9-7. I mean, a lot of these players would have a target in their mind. You know, you play 9 frames. Any sort of a lead would be nice, you know. You sort of try and play it in mini sessions. This is a wonderful shot, actually. Wonderful pace on the cue ball there to get right behind the red. Played that very nicely indeed. Doesn't have to do much with the red here, just as you see where he's lining up his cue. Try and play on the pink for the right centre.
Feel a little bit sorry for Mark Joyce, because I guess, owing to the unusual nature of Igor Figueiredo's journey in snooker, a lot of neutrals will be wanting him to win, but it's an equally massive occasion on a personal level for Mark as well, the 37-year-old.
Yeah, he's a nice lad, Mark, as well. Consummate professional.
Come close a couple of times in Judgment Day, lost out to Jamie Cope 11 years ago, 10-5, and missed out to Michael Holt in 2013. Last year he succumbed to Ricky Walden.
Oh, he's dropped his
the
hand
last
there.
80.
Dropped his hand there. I'm not quite sure, but he's finished almost straight on this yellow. Played a nice shot in the pink. The problem ball could be the blue, but it's not in a bad position for a double into the left centre pocket if he gets that far. Problem is now, if this is too straight, how is he going to get on the green into the same pocket? Yeah, is it available into this left centre pocket. He's played it as if it is, so it might just pass the brown.
By the way, Sam Craigie, barring snookers, will have got his first frame on the board. He's currently on a break of 68, having lost the first 3 to Xiao Xian Tong, so a good response before the mid-session interval. Right, whilst we watch the toing and froing here, embroiled in a little bit of safety, why don't we head over to table 4 and just see if Ryan Day can get a frame on the board. Trailing 3-0. Ricky Walden has got back in.
Yeah, he needs a snooker, doesn't he?
Yep, only 51 available with the 3 reds, but his body language looks very positive, doesn't it? You know, this frame is by no means a certainty here for Ryan, but it would be wonderful for him psychologically if he could somehow hang on and get one on the board before heading off for a cup of tea.
Yeah, play for pink here and then try and retrieve a snooker on the last red.
Sam Craigie has closed in on a century. So he's managed to stop that Xian Tong momentum. Just watching to see whether he does go into triple figures. He's on 99, just the colours remaining.
Not a bad idea to take the black off the last red. He had a nice angle to do so. So just 1 4-point snooker now required on the colours. So we try and leave the cue ball such an angle that we pot the yellow and try and leave the cue ball not far from the yellow, where he can just brush off the green and try and get the cue ball down towards the black here. Looks like way he's going to go about it.
Luca Bressel, by the way, in the lead in frame 3. They're at 1 apiece, he and Stuart Bingham. He's on a break of 52.
It's not a good shot. Needed that sort of cue ball closer to the balk line, so could have played it off possibly 1 or 2 cushions. Cue ball down behind the black and pink here. But he hasn't left himself a great angle. He's got a bit of work to do here with the cue ball. Good effort. I think he's going to be able to see through the gap. Oh, good shot. Oh, that'll put pay to this frame.
That was
very good.
That was superb in the context, Ken. Yeah, that was quite some pot, just to make absolutely certain of getting one on the board ahead of the mid-session interval. Well done, Ryan Day. Yeah, brilliantly done. The reigning snooker shootout champion.
Two 5-point snookers now required for Ricky.
Okay, I think we'll leave this one now. Barring those snookers, it looks as though Dynamite Day has got himself over the line for 3-1. Yeah, well done, Ryan. That is frame definitely over. Right, we'll just give you a reminder. Gary Wilson in fact, we're going Sam Craigie over on table 7. He too getting himself an important frame on the board before the mid-session interval. Zhao Xiantong had taken the first 3. Sam Craigie, along with Ryan Day, registering a first frame. Brilliant century break. 1-3-3. Right. Let's head over to table 8, please. Chris Wakelin just hoping to finish off. Oh, and he's done so, in fact. Commentator's curse. We just got there a fraction too late, but important there from Chris Wakelin to level things up at 2 apiece. Oh, we're chasing it around a little bit here. So Gary Wilson 3-1 up. Luca Bracel in command in this 3rd frame against Stuart Bingham. Ali Carter's 2-1 up, by the way, on Alexander Ursenbacher.
One.
Chris Wakelin and Zhao Gudong 2 apiece. Zhao Xiantong and Sam Craigie. Chinese player 3-1 up. Gary Wilson 3-1 up on Stephen Hallworth. Those 3 have headed off for a little break. So 2-1 for the Belgian Bullet. And thought we were bringing you this a moment or 2 ago. This is Gary Wilson before they headed off for their mid-session interval. The former semi-finalist. Only 2 visits to the Crucible. He's had both ends of the spectrum. A first round exit and a run to the single table setup. Missed out last year to Alexander Ursenbacher. Remember I said Ursenbacher was so emotional making it through to the Crucible. Right, just having a little look. Let's head over to table 5, please. By Lang Ning and Martin Gould. By Lang Ning 2-1 up. Trails by 37 in this frame. Had another text from Mike Dunn, actually. We were alluding earlier to the fact that Lang Ning has not played a single other event the whole season. He's also at the Q House, based up north. He was sent home because his family were terrified he would contract COVID. So that's why he's missed the entire season. And that is why it is so very impressive. This is a good platform now, though, for Martin Gould to level before the mid-session. That's why it is so impressive what he's come here to the qualifiers and done. As I mentioned, he beat Alan Taylor. Had a break of 1-3-6, a 62 and a 50. Quite a nervy match against Alan McManus. Turned out to be the Angle's final match as a professional. Had a 102 and a couple of 54s in that one. And then beat Ben Wollaston in a decider with a 96, a 78 and 2 74s. So Bai Lang Ning has played really well to get through to Judgment Day. Equally, from Martin Gould's perspective, how well did he play against one of last season's outstanding performers at the Crucible? He thrashed poor old Stephen Maguire to make it through to the last 16, where he lost to Kyron Wilson. He's made the second round on 3 occasions. Yeah. Almost beat Neil Robertson in 2010.
That year,
remember?
Yeah, 11-5 up
right.
against Neil Robertson in 2010. Neil Robertson checked out a hotel.
That's right, yeah. He struggled to find somewhere to stay, didn't he?
He checked out a hotel.
And then ended up winning the title.
And ended up winning the title, yeah.
Unbelievable.
What a story.
So Martin bidding for an 11th Crucible campaign, and I think he proved that little run at the Crucible was no fluke, and he was back in the groove and feeling better mentally about life by a great run to the European Masters final. Took a victory in the deciding frame from Mark Selby to deny Martin a second ranking title to go along with the German Masters crown that he won when he beat Luca 9-5 a few years ago. He's a deceptively good player, Martin Gould, isn't he?
Apparently he's been practicing it an awful lot throughout the season with Ronnie O'Sullivan as well. Ronnie O'Sullivan rang him up and asked him could he practice with him, and they've been practice partners quite a bit, so would certainly improve his game.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about Martin Gould, Ken.
Yeah.
Apparently, in his club, some of his mates refer to him as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Stephen Hendry raised an eyebrow when he found out about that. But anyway, so Martin Gould is formerly known as the Pinner Potter, but apparently I've been told that we've got to drop that for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so I put it to Martin. I said, look, you know, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, you've won a ranking title. What about the GOAT? Martin the GOAT Gould.
Yeah.
He put that flat straight.
Didn't
He was
like it.
was having none of that, Ken. He was
like
having none of that.
I remember being on Question of Sport, and a question came up, and a snooker question. It was Martin Gould, and I said in my answer that I said he's known as the Pinner Potter, but he looks more like Harry Potter, right? But apparently, at the next tournament, he collared me. He says I was watching the Question of Sport with my mates, you know, when you called me Harry Potter, he says, and he said it's stuck with all my mates now, and they keep calling me Harry Potter. He says, like, I'm getting so much stick for that. He just happened to be watching it that night.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Well, Harry Potter, the Pinner Potter, the GOAT, whatever you want to call him, he's levelled the scores at 2 frames apiece. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay. Back to the sensible, serious business of who's qualifying. So they've headed off. We've got tables 5 through to 8, all on their mid-session interval. Still got Luca Bracel and Stuart Bingham on table 1. Urson Backers playing Carter on 2. In fact, Luca Bracel is in on what looks to be a half-decent opportunity at the beginning of the 4th. Let's see what the Belgian Bullet can do with this. He's on a break of 12.
He's just having a look at a shot here. When he pots this red, the red that's next to the black, it's almost planting the black towards this bottom right hand corner pocket. So he could play a nice little cannon, knock the black towards this pocket, and there you see it, played it beautifully. Nice touch, well worked out. Got to play another little cannon here on one of the reds, just to control the pace of the cue ball. Yeah, that'll do. Nicely played. And now he's in amongst them.
20.
Some good messages coming here, Ken, via Twitter. A guy called Russ is saying, I love the coverage yesterday so much. Cheers, Russ. I've come into work early on a day off to watch day 2. I hope we get a final frame decider. Yeah, I was thinking that this morning. The closest we got was Jamie Clark trying to force the match to go all the way against Mark Davis. We haven't had a 10-9. And he says, also being an old friend of Ricky Walden, I'm cheering him on loudly.
$26.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of people hoping that Luca makes it through to the Crucible. He's got a funny record, 4 first-round defeats. He played Stephen Maguire when he was a teenager back in 2012, 10-5.
Wasn't he the youngest ever to play at
Yes.
the Crucible? Yeah,
Yes,
he broke Stephen Hendry's record.
That's
I think.
right. Because Hendry, I think they were all 17, weren't they? Hendry was 17 and Judd was also 17 when he made his debut in 07. So a little bit of history. Lost that match 10-5, which is fine, you know, just a kid at the time. And Maguire's made a couple of
34.
semi-finals. In fact, I think 2012 was the second time Mags made the semis. First was in 2007.
35.
Then came the match against Marco Fu. He lost that 10-9. He was 7-2 up in 2017. Lost to Ricky 10-6 the following year. And then lost to Gary Wilson. Remember this one? Were you commentating on this one, Ken? The longest frame in Crucible history.
I wasn't. No.
Something like
42.
76 minutes.
Oh.
So he's got 2 historical records at the Crucible. Youngest player and longest frame. But he's still yet to win a match.
43.
He's gone about his business quite nicely here.
Luca Bracel putting a very handy break together. Now, here's a moment of misfortune for Mark Joyce. Embroiled in this battle with Igor Figueiredo in off. So we'll keep you posted how that one
51.
goes. Remember, we've got tables 5, 6, 7 and 8 all off for their mid-session interval.
It has been a good break so far. Cue ball has been good. And all help with that initial... The red, when he brought the red and black into play that was tied
58.
up. Nice little innovative shot.
59.
Keep the break going, and it looks to be in perfect position. Taking his time, he's not as pacey as you would normally see Luca. Trying to put all the concentration into secure this frame from this visit.
66.
Just red in colour, and his opponent will need a snooker. But I think there's going to be a
67.
few more to come here. He'd like to clear the table here.
Excellent start to this match from Luca Bracel, who, as I mentioned when we first came on air, was very, very relaxed this morning with Alexander Ursenbacher. Carter leading that one on table 2, by the way.
72.
We'll head over there when this one is finished. Carter's 2-1 up against the Swiss player, and he's in the balls in the 4th.
73.
One thing we know for certain, if there was any doubt this morning, Ken, the 2015 World Champion Stuart Bingham has a massive challenge on his hands if he's to make it through qualifying and get himself in the draw for the big one tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was always an eye catcher, wasn't it, this match?
80.
Knew it was going to be tough for both players. So he started off pretty well here, Luca Bracel, but still a long way to go. First to 10, real test
81.
for both players. But just what he would have been hoping for starting off this match. Good start, put some nice balls, make some decent breaks, and get an interval lead. And that's exactly what he's going to
84.
achieve.
He's got himself in good
85.
shape as well, Luca Bracel. I noticed when we interviewed him after the victory over Mark King, I said, oh, you look a bit thinner than you have done in previous tournaments, and he said, yeah, he said, I used to be in really good shape. I used to be able to run sort of 22 kilometers in one go, and then I ended up getting far too big. He said, I found this hard to believe, when he won the China Championship,
92.
his solo ranking title to date, he was about 85 kilos. That's massive
92.
for
And the frame.
a small
20
guy,
past now. I'll
but
see
he's
you
back
34
at
when he
sort of
come up,
67,
35.
68 kilos. He's
Okay.
running regularly,
34 when he-
and he's in control here, 3-1. Let's nip next door from table 1 to table 2. Bracel back in shape, 3-1 up against Stuart Bingham. Can Ali Carter finish this promising opportunity off and ensure he goes off for a cup of tea with a 3-1 lead? Yeah, Luca Bracel has dropped a lot of weight and got himself in good shape again. So he and his good friend Alexander Ursenbacher fancying the job, but Ali Carter so determined. He's one of those guys, Ken, I bet when you face him you realise you're going to have to sweat a pint of blood to get past him.
Yeah, he's got a good cue action, Ali Carter always has done. He's very determined, very gritty,
60.
but multi-talented for sure. Gets a bit feisty, doesn't he, as well? You know, the old bang of the cue on the floor, the old table gets a rap at the knuckles the odd time. No harm in that. But quality player, for sure. Couple of final
65.
appearances at the Crucible. Losing out. Was it Ronnie O'Sullivan both
66.
times he
Yeah.
lost in the final?
It was 2008 and 2012, and you know what? They even had to share, and it was a huge check in those days, wasn't it? Wasn't it 147 grand?
Oh yeah.
They had to share the max prize because they both had a maximum. I think from memory, Ali Carter may have got his
73.
first, and then, or was it the other way? I'm getting confused there. Anyway, they both had a 147 in 2008 en route to the final.
74.
And then lost to him again in 2012, which is why when he beat him in the second round a few years later, Ken, I interviewed Ronnie in the corridor. I got the short straw. I had to do the losing O'Sullivan interview, the flash position.
Yeah.
Carter went back to his dressing room. The shout would have echoed around
81.
every corridor because he'd gone back to his dressing room.
Yeah,
He'd
then-
contained his emotion.
Yeah.
And when that dressing room door was shut, I heard the loudest yes that I've ever heard. And I sensed, even in hearing it in that split second, the release of having lost those two finals to
Yeah.
Ronnie.
I bet Ronnie was pleased, wasn't he?
Luckily, I don't think he noticed. He was midway through giving an answer. I did think for a moment I was going to have to reference it during the interview, but I just cut it short and we got out of there as rapidly as possible. But yeah, Ali Carter's come up shy twice in the World Championship final. And remember, it wasn't it ironic that it was Ronnie deciding not to participate in the 2012 in the 2020 Masters that gave Ali an opportunity because he was 17th, and then he got all the way to the final and played that great match against Stuart Bingham last January.
Ali Carter 95 on the frame.
So, Ali Carter does indeed head off for a cup of
22
tea
now, so
with
37
an
in the Players'
excellent
Lounge.
lead. Colin Humphreys, you can just hear whispering in the background,
12:37 in
checking
the Players' Lounge.
the time that the guys need to come back. Well, Ali Carter is a man of huge passion, and that's exactly what he was displaying when I caught up with him after his win over Mark King.
Why do you think the Crucible is held in such regard? It almost has a mystique for snooker players. Why is it?
I think it's because of the stories over the years. You know, you've seen, Alex Higgins win it, and then Steve Davis win it. Then the Hendry years beating White, and the story there. Then the class of '92, Williams, Higgins, and Ronnie. They've had their all their successful years there, and there's a whole load of history and a load of a story. The Dennis Taylor final, it's just a long fairy tale. And as a player, when you watch it on the telly, you live it. Even if you're not playing yourself, you can feel, what the players are going through when they're faced with a big shot, a big clearance, when they miss, a pressure ball or whatever. And it's the place where everyone wants to be, and it's the last tournament of the season. So that creates, no one wants to not be at the Crucible, and certainly no one wants to lose their first round, because no matter what season you've had, good, bad or ugly, if you lose your first round, then, that's all that sticks in your mind.
Well, that's how much it means to get back to the Crucible. Ali Carter, who of course beat Pang Jung Siu en route to the last qualifying round. It was Luca Bracel. I was looking in the wrong place in my notes. Bracel beat Mark King to get through to Judgment Day. Right, we've got just about every other table, I think, has either finished or has just started their mid-session interval. And these two are still in the early stages of frame 3. So this is not going to be a quick match between Igor Figueiredo and Mark Joyce. It's understandable, because the only guaranteed debutant that we will have in the draw tomorrow at 11 o'clock will be one of these two, and it's tense. Interesting A couple of text questions coming in. The midwife has said, we know the winner of this one will be a debutante. Who are the other potential debutantes? So just looking down my notes, doesn't give your actual name, so I just say hello, midwife. Stephen Hallworth would be a debutante. He's currently embroiled in a tough match against Gary Wilson, who has the early advantage. Sam Craigie would be a debutante, but he trails Zhao Xiantong 3-1, although they've resumed, by the way, after their mid-sesh, and Craigie's on a break of 21, so it's a good start for him. So not as many debutantes as we've had in the past. As I said, we're guaranteed one from this match. We may only actually have one, and I can remember in the past we've had as many as 4 or 5, and I love introducing the debutantes because the Crucible crowd are always so knowledgeable and passionate, and they understand the life-defining significance that comes with a player walking down those stairs live on the BBC and Eurosport for the first time in their lives. The second intro is also big, but there isn't anything that quite matches when you give a little bit of the backstory to the crowd and you tee them up and you say, look, you know, you might be here to watch, I don't know, Higgins or O'Sullivan, you know, behind the divider, but please don't forget this is a massive moment for player X who's walking down for the first time, and that's exactly what I'll do with the winner of this one, and I'll be hoping that whoever it is, whether it's Mark Joyce or Figueiredo making history for South America, I hope the crowd give them a big one. They normally do.
I'm sure they do. I think they always appreciate, you know, the debutants and of course the guys that have been there for many years. So they do love to see young guys coming through, different guys coming through, and they give them as much respect as their own favourites, for sure. We're going back to Ali Carter there. Yeah, it is. I mean, we all grew up on the images of you know, the history of the Crucible and the nostalgia that's attached to it, and that's what makes it so special. And he's dead right. I mean, you could have a really poor season, and then you get to the Crucible, you might have a little run, and then all of a sudden it's not so bad. Or the other way around, if you win quite a few matches during the year, and then you get to the World Championships and you don't qualify for the Crucible, or you go out in the first round, then you feel completely let down by it. So yeah, some great historical moments in the Crucible for snooker players over the years, for sure. And that's what these two boys will be trying to achieve and be part of that history this year. He's got to play. He could play a little cannon into the two reds just right of the pink here. Just hold for the red into the left corner. Oh, and he's gone the other side. That's pretty good. Played the more difficult shot. A lot of right hand side.
24.
Yeah. Will he play a little cannon into the two reds, or will he try and play a soft screw up for the blue? Might go up for the blue here. Those two reds are on. Well, the bottom one should be. The only problem is sometimes if you just go that little bit far on the blue, where you can't just drop onto the reds into the left corner pocket. Now he's got to play a delicate little one here. It's a little twitchy one, but it was okay.
Chris Wakelin with a lead of 55 in the 5th frame, by the way. Useful looking break. That's come to an end, but he does have a sizable advantage. Ricky Walden, very early stages of the 5th, leading Ryan Day 3-1. He's on a break of 17. Sam Craigie in front in the 5th against Zhao Xiantong. 5 reds left on the table in that one. Quite a big frame that. We might head over there in just a moment to table 7. We'll see the conclusion of this frame, still leaving them one away from the mid-session interval. And I'm assuming normal rules apply today. If you missed our coverage yesterday, Martin Clark, tournament director, said that he doesn't really want any frames beginning after around 3 or 3:05. Scheduled for 10 this afternoon. Sorry, 9 this afternoon and then 10 in the concluding session. But his thinking is that he wants to make sure the players have a decent break before coming back at 5 o'clock. So yesterday that resulted in Matt Selt and Scott Donaldson being pulled off a frame early. They'd played 8 in the afternoon instead of the scheduled 9. So this one is slow at the moment, and we can expect perhaps Martin Clark to make the same decision. If they're ambling their way towards 8 at 3 o'clock, they may well have an extra potential frame added to their evening session.
Well, this frame is secure. Good pot there from Igor, and he's going to go a frame ahead again.
Yep, there's the concession from Mark Joyce, so Figueiredo does indeed move 2-1 ahead. Important moments these for Sam Craigie. Xiao Xian Tong raced to a 3-0 lead. Sam Craigie got one on the board just before the mid-session interval on table 7. And if he could see his way to this one as well, we'll put him right back in touch. If you're just joining us, Ali Carter 3-1 up against Alexander Ursenbacher. He's on his mid-session interval. So too Luca Bracel, leading by the same scoreline. Those are the two of the headline-grabbing matches. Bai Lang Ning, the 18-year-old from China, 2 apiece with Martin Gould. Stephen Hallworth has a useful-looking lead at the beginning of the 5th, trailing Gary Wilson 3-1. And Chris Wakelin looks like he's just about to claw one back against Zhao Guodong. So plenty of drama all around the English Institute of Sport, but these are key moments now for Sam Craigie in the second half of the afternoon session.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Wakelin is going to go 3-2 ahead against Xiao Guodong. That's a good comeback from him. He started off a little bit slow. Guodong, of course, started off that wonderful century. Ricky Walden on a break of 55 against Ryan Day.
Yeah, it's good work by Chris Wakelin. Get himself back in front. So we've kind of alluded to this already, Ken, but just in case people are joining us, Mr. J Squishy. I love these strange usernames. Jeff Lawn. Do you think Zhao Xian Tong is the next best behind Ding, Bing Chao and Yu Long?
Yeah, I think he has the talent. I think he's certainly got the pedigree, and I think he's missed this, but I do think he certainly of the Chinese players, he's one of the most talented that I've seen, and I think when he gets a bit of a run, we see this plant again, and it gets a bit of confidence. I think he could go really deep in some big tournaments next season.
So let's see if Sam Craigie can close this gap. He's having to stretch the old hamstrings a little bit on that one. Ryan Day back at the table against Ricky Walden. Walden has a handsome lead, but there is enough on the table for Ryan Day.
A question come through on Twitter. Ian Lewis: is there anybody fighting for tour survival today? It's an interesting question. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure.
Stephen Hallward, maybe.
Well, no, because he's at the beginning of
his
2 years,
okay,
because he came through Q School, and a brilliant 2:30 in the morning his match against Alfie Burden, and he said had he failed to win that match, he was not sure that he would have
continued on.
Yeah, managed to find his way back. So no, I'm pretty sure these guys are all fine. Sam Craigie and Chris Wakelin. Chris Wakelin's 63, Sam Craigie 58. So their runs to get here and the £15,000 and 15,000 ranking points, very useful indeed. Bai Lang Ning, again, youngster. He's at the beginning of 2 years, I believe. There were a couple of players who could have still fallen off, even if they'd got this far. Peter Lyons won a couple of matches. What a great character. Good commentator as well. I worked with him last summer at the seniors when you were playing. Peter Lyons won a couple of matches, but needed even more than he did produce. He was beaten by Ricky. Ricky Walden on table 4, leading Ryan Day. So Peter Lyons back to Q School. But there were a few nervous players needing a couple of very important victories.
Yeah.
Jimmy Robertson even needed. I know he hasn't made it through to Judgment Day, but the wins he did get secured his tour status.
Wow, that's hard to believe, isn't it? After him winning the European Masters a couple of seasons ago. Question from Kyle Reid here: would Igor Figueiredo become the oldest Crucible debutant if he qualifies? And who, if not, who would have been the oldest Crucible debutant?
We need the almanac for that. I will put the call out. Do you know, it's so difficult to get hold of those almanacs.
Yeah.
I'll ask. I know there's one in the press room, so I'll see if we can get hold of one. Justin Barnes, by the way, says we were calling Mark Davis yesterday the battler from Hastings. He's saying, shouldn't it be the battler of Hastings, as in the Battle of Hastings? Could have a point there. Could have a point.
So 28 ahead, pink and the red will be required, and it'll cut the deficit to just one frame. Got into the pink a little bit too much, but should be okay. He's one of these players that can play
22
ambidextrously and play it left-handed. Yeah, and a big shot. He's 34. He definitely needs the red. Obviously confident of playing it with his left hand. No problem.
23.
Not easy to do that. It looks a lot easier than it actually is, but well played. So it's going to go 3-2 to Zhao. And interesting match this. We'll keep you informed as we move around.
Yeah, good work by Sam Craigie. It really is. Xiao Xin Tong. A lot of people very excited about his potential, but Sam Craigie playing in his first Judgment Day, one of a small number of potential debutants. Right, just having a look on the Octo screen. Where do you fancy, Ken?
I like table 2. Let's have a look. I just saw Alex Orsenbacher just knock a wonderful long red in. He's banging around the black now. Let's have a look at that one.
Under a little bit of pressure. Excellent start to this match from Ali Carter. What about that 139? Talk about a declaration of intent.
I'm just asking the referee to check.
Okay. Well, it's got to go on his spot anyway. Yeah.
Well, he's asking to check with the marker, but it doesn't make any difference with the marker because it's got to go as close to its spot as possible.
Okay, yeah.
You'd only really... I don't think the red above the black is potable, so he has to take the second red above. There you see it. So that sort of complicates things a little bit. He thought the red might be available. The one just, it's the close to the black, but it's not, so he has to take the one just above it. He's still okay though. What's he gonna do? Will he play for black or will he go up for the blue?
Nine.
You can see the different pace of the table from this TV table as from the outside tables. They're so much faster. And they've been playing a little bit tight, particularly in these two black pockets left and right. They've had a lot of play now over the last week or so. And the pockets certainly tighten up after a few days play.
By the way, we've had a couple of clarifications on Twitter. Great work. JB
14.
reminding us, of course, because Bai Lang Ning, no, we're watching Alexander Ursenbacher here, just clarifying who's
15.
on and off tour. Bai Lang Ning is actually coming to the end of his 2 years. He had 9 first-round exits last season, and having been recalled to China by his family, he hasn't played at all this season, so therefore he hasn't picked up any points. So he would need to win this match against the Pinner Potter, stroke Harry Potter, stroke the GOAT, stroke Martin Gould.
20.
Igor is just about okay. His official ranking is 85, but his run to get to Judgment Day, earning him £15,000 and 15,000 points, he's okay because he's in the top 8, not in the 64.
Okay, of the 1 year.
On the 1 year list, yes.
Yeah. So Bai Lang Ning, if he does qualify, he'll be guaranteed a 2-year card, of course.
Yes. And that was one of the reasons I think Jamie Clark and Jordan Brown were so emotional last summer when they came through qualifying. And actually Jamie Clark made the point. Now I wonder if it was one of the reasons why he ended up making the last 16 and playing such a memorable match against Anthony McGill. He said that was actually bigger. Preserving his status as a professional sportsman was actually bigger than playing at the Crucible. Even though he loved getting to the sports spiritual home, he felt as though the pressure was off because he knew he was on the circuit for another 2 years. Massive
match. Yeah.
Massive match on so many levels for these guys.
You're talking to Bai Lang Ning. He's on a little break against Martin Gould.
Should we head over there
let's
and have a look?
See how he's getting on.
Table 5, please. Bai Lang Ning, after his 2 centuries and 8 half centuries to make it through to Judgment Day. Still only 18 years of age. Olivier Martil overseeing this one. Worked as an intensive care nurse during lockdown. Took some leave.
Good shot.
And then he came back. Oh, sorry, just saying about Olivier Martil. He took some leave and was delighted to come back on the circuit. We got him a big box of chocolates at the UK Champs in December after he'd spent months and months working in incredibly
They weren't Belgian
difficult...
chocolates, were they?
They were. Oh, we had to make sure if you're going to give chocolates to a Belgian, they've got to be Belgian. such is the quality. But he's our snooker hero. One of them, working as a nurse in the intensive care unit back home in Brussels for so many months.
I saw the video they did last year. It was a beautiful shot video of Olivier in Belgium in the hospital and what he had to do, and I thought it was a wonderful story for him, you know.
Yeah, great ambassador for snooker and a brilliant referee. I think he did the final. Yeah, he did, and that's why they did the VT. He did the final at the UK Champs.
Yeah. Well, this frame is one for Bai Lang Ning. Chris Wakeland is on a break of 67 on table 8, and he's 3-2 up, so he's playing pretty good.
He is. We'll head over there. We'll head over there shortly. Now, we've been talking about Olivier Martil. What a great performance this is turning out to be from Bai Lang Ning. Doesn't matter about that red. I'm sure the concession. Oh, is he coming back? Yep, he's coming back, Martin Gould. But talking about Olivier Martil being a great referee, there are so many of them. And the man who set the record for the youngest referee to oversee a final, I believe it was 2004 when he did his first, Paul Collier. Well, he's the man who's got the mantle of overseeing the final on the 2nd and 3rd of May. It will be a hat-trick of Crucible Ultimate matches for the charismatic Welshman. We caught up with him about the accolade to come.
Paul, thanks very much for speaking to us, and congratulations, a 3rd World Championship final coming up this year. Just how special is that for you?
Oh, very special. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard a couple of rumours about it a few weeks ago. I hadn't really thought, who was going to do this year's. I did say when I got the 2nd one, it was nice to get out of a group of very, very good referees who'd only done 1 world final. So to do 2 was good, but to now be in a rather more exclusive club of 3 is, it's brilliant.
It's been a difficult year for everyone across the world, and in terms of just this very specific snooker world, you've been right at the coalface of it, doing your refereeing and also as a tournament director. So I guess it would be quite an emotional way to round it off, stepping out at the Crucible and the biggest match in the sport.
Yeah, definitely. And I've had, I suppose, a good year is the wrong thing to say, but I mean, we've not lost a lot of work, luckily, from a snooker point of view. We've managed to keep playing. Thanks to all the work that's gone in behind the scenes. And I've probably done more refereeing this year than I've done, the last 2 or 3 years put together. So I feel I'm ready for a World Championship final because we've put all the groundwork in. So it's come at a good time. It's nice.
What's the atmosphere like on that arena floor at that final night?
Unbelievable. It is such an atmosphere. I mean, I still, even after all the things I've done now, I still get such a buzz. The last session probably more than the other sessions because the walk-ins change. The players come down through the stairs. I think they use that Adamski killer, don't they? They use that track, and once that beat starts, that hairs on the back of your neck are really up then, and you're right in the thick of it.
Jessie May Charity needs your help. Please text this number to raise funds.
So we'll do all of his clinical care, so anything he needs clinically, play with him as well, entertain him, cuddle him.
It takes him a bit of time to warm to us with all this gear on faces, hence I've got some stickers on my mask. Take about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, and then we get the smiles from Finley because he can recognise our voices.
This time of year now, we will be heading into Christmas. So there'll be a whole host of Christmas markets, Christmas fairs, carol concerts, you name it. The activity that goes on normally at Christmas is huge. And it's the highest period of income that we get generally, particularly from the community. So all of that's not happening this year, as you know. So that's going to be a big dent in our fundraising. As they say, every little helps, so it all builds up. The more people can help, the more we can do. £2, £5, £10. It might feel a little, but it's fantastic. A lot of people go to the pub and have a pint. It's what, £3, £4. If you can spare a pint for helping us, that's fantastic.
$122.
Jessie May, fantastic charity, partnered with World Snooker Tour, hoping to benefit from some excellent play.
127.
From the world's finest at the Crucible. And speaking of excellent play, this isn't too shabby from Stuart Bingham from a moment or two ago.
133.
bouncing back into this match brilliantly, the ball run. How about that? A cheeky 140. He's definitely in the mood, and this mouth-watering match is more than living up to expectation. Right, just checking the scores. Let's head to table 4, please. Ryan Day 4-1 down. He trails in the frame, but the Reds look nicely spread for him. Important opportunity, perhaps, this, just to try and just get a hold of Ricky Walden's coattails before the Liverpudlian gets himself into a sizable lead. By the way, Ken.
Yeah.
Hector Nunn's well-respected journalist. Jack Fitzmaurice.
Jack Fitzmaurice, wow. What age was he? 50? 52?
54.
54.
In 1982, lost 10-4 to the Kirk.
Wow. Jack Fitzmaurice, eh?
And here's a really cool comment. Halil Nadim. Yeah, I wonder as well, Halil. He says, I wonder how long it will take for someone's mobile phone to go off at the Crucible. Do you know what? Sadly, despite the fact that I mention it every single time there's a session, to the point where I'm sure regular audience members are bored to tears, I bet a phone rings in the very first session. They go off all the time. They go off all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Even probably Betfred would be taking odds on that, maybe.
Yeah.
Just overran the cue ball slightly. But he can still get enough purchase on the cue ball to try and split these Reds. And you can see the top two Reds is sort of a plant going towards this left corner pocket. So if you could... Oh, yeah. Oh, bad one from Ryan Day. You really need to be tighter, closer to the blue with the cue ball, and made that shot much easier. When you're digging down and sort of push it offline into the blue. And he's missed it. Oh, good shot from Ricky Walton. Oh, he's actually overcooked it.
Igor and Mark Joyce are now on their mid-session break, 2 apiece.
So thank God for that.
Yeah. So in terms of frames played, they're way behind. What are we now? We're tickling 12:52. So there is the potential that they might get pulled off a frame early. Now, Ken, we were talking about Martin Gould and the potential nickname of the GOAT. What do you mean? I'll never be able to use this because Ricky quite likes a straight bat introduction. But apparently, do you know what they call him in China?
Who's that?
Ricky Walton.
Go on.
The meatball.
The meatball.
I'll tell you why. Ty from the press room. Hopefully he's going to be coming over soon.
Yeah.
He's working back in Beijing at the moment, I think. Apparently, the initials R and W put next to each other in Chinese spell the word meatball.
Oh right. Okay.
So I mean, it would be an utterly bizarre. Would you please welcome the meatball, Ricky Walden? And actually, it made me realise that with Rob and Walker, my nickname, if I'd been a player, would nowhere near that kind of standard. But you know, the meatball would do well for me as well. So that would be the most bizarre nickname. Ricky the Meatball Walden.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's going to go for
it. There's a little ring to it, doesn't it?
Maybe.
Meatball.
I thought that
I do like meatballs, all right.
I thought that would tickle you.
I thought it's good because of his sort of penchant for Italian food.
It would take. I just can't think of a way that you could succinctly explain that as part of someone's walk-on. I'm not sure it's usable, but anyway, that's what we refer to him as sometimes in the press room.
Ooh, that was could be a costly miss. He hasn't left the red, but that was for 5-1 basically. That red. 17 points the difference. He had the blue waiting, and then of course the yellow waiting. Easily been. Oh, this is not good. He needs a bit of luck here. He needs a bit of luck, and he hasn't got it.
By the way, Chris Wakelin 4-2 up now on Zhao Guodong. Remember, he trailed 2-1. That's an excellent turnaround, especially bearing in mind that Zhao Guodong got himself going with that magnificent break of 1-3-3. So Chris Wakelin has battled back brilliantly and has the upper hand in that match against the talented Chinese player.
Yeah, Ricky Walden, if he pots the black, he'll be 25 ahead, so he'll only need the yellow. Green tied up.
Sam Craigie's closed the gap on Zhao Xiantong, 3-2 down, and he leads in the 6th.
This isn't a scoreline I would have expected between these two. I thought this would be very, very close match. Not a lot between the both of them. I mean, it could very well turn out to be like that. But it's Ricky who's doing all the running so far early on in this match.
Looks like Stephen Hallworth has clawed one back against Gary Wilson. Gary Wilson, remember, led 3-1 after the mid-session interval. Luca Bracel first in the 6th against Stuart Bingham. What about that 140 though from the ball run to reduce the arrears to 3-2? Luca has the first opportunity in this one, and yes, it does look as though Stephen Hallworth, barring snookers, is going to go 4-2. Gary Wilson is playing on. So that will be that. You would think. Ricky Walden looking good value for 5-1. So, split screen. Ricky Walden and Ryan Day on the left. Ricky almost there in terms of 5-1. And it's Stephen Hallworth. 4-1 down. Wilson requires snookers. Playing on at the moment. Key moments, you suspect, for Hallworth. This is a massive opportunity for him. He's done brilliantly to get through to this 4th qualifying round. And he could really do with this one because Wilson's got the class to pull away if he gets some momentum. Well, let us know your thoughts. The director's got some fancy equipment. He's floating around here and there. It is 5-1. Ricky Walden, so Ryan Day has got a little bit to think about. Why don't we go back to that one then and just see, that's table 6, by the way, guys. Stephen Hallworth and Gary Wilson, just to see whether Stephen does indeed manage to finish this frame. Let us know what you think of the split screen. If it gets really tasty a little bit later on today, we might put both up at the same time.
Yeah, I think it looks good, that.
Yeah, it's okay,
screen.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You focus on whichever one
you're
more interested in.
I think the director's getting a bit flash, isn't he? Showing off some new equipment and.
Well, you know what my wife says, Ken.
What's that?
The only difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. I think there's a lot to be said for that. I do love this Stephen Hallworth story, though, Ken. You know, we touched on this yesterday that there are great characters and there are great stories, because a story doesn't need to involve a player drinking 15 pints. You know, the tour is too competitive and these guys are too professional. But instead of drinking the pints, Stephen Hallworth has been pouring them. And when you speak to him about what coming through Q school must be like, He says he'll never forget playing Alfie Burden, the AB of London Town, as he's known on his Twitter handle, your character Alfie Burden. They played at 2:30 in the morning, and he went off for a comfort break during that match, Stephen Hallworth, and he said, my stomach was rumbling, I was absolutely exhausted, but I took myself off and said, you've got to forget about this. If you want to become a professional snooker player again, you have got to win this match. And he did. And he finds himself now 1 win away from playing at the Crucible, albeit he's in a difficult
I remember,
position.
I'll give you a little story. I was practicing with him once, and we finished the practice for the day, and I said to him, you back in tomorrow? We'll have a game tomorrow. He says, no, I've got to go back to the pub and work tomorrow, and I've got to do a couple of shifts over the next couple of days. So he couldn't practice because he had to go back to the plough and pull a few more points. Yeah, but that's exactly what how tough it was for him,
Yeah, great story. And that's a very useful frame for him to get back on the board. 4-2 down. Gary Wilson still in a commanding position. Right, just checking things out here. Let's have a look. Table 5. Let's go by Lang Ning and Martin Gould again. By Lang Ning. 3-2 up and fighting for his place on tour. As Ken said, the rule, the etiquette now, and I do really agree with this, that if you are going to be off the tour but you qualify for the Crucible, irrespective of whether that extra 5,000, just to clarify, it's 15,000 for reaching the 4th and final qualifying round. It's 20 grand if you make it into the first round proper at the Crucible. Even if that 20,000 isn't enough technically to get you safe, you are given 2 years by virtue of the fact that you've come through a Herculean qualification process to get yourself on the sport's biggest stage. So that's what it's going to take from Bai Lang Ning. But you know what, Ken? Even if Martin Gould does use all those years of experience and win this match, to have come here as an 18-year-old, having been thrashed in the first round of 9 major events last year, to have come here having not played a single competitive match all season and beaten Dean Young, a rejuvenated David Grace, the brilliantly broken through Jordan Brown, reigning Welsh Open champion, from 3-0 down, that is quite some hat-trick of wins,
Incredible.
even if he loses today.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he beat Alan McManus as well, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe World Snooker will look at his situation and will he have to go back to Q School? I can't see him having a problem getting through Q School, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, let's see how this match pans out, because it's very, very interesting to see how he's going to hold himself together. He's done very, very well up to now. I like the way he plays. I mean, I like the way he sort of, particularly his temperament, the way he sort of, when the pressure came on, particularly in that match against Alan McManus, and how well he sort of held himself together at the end. On the TV, of course, on the TV table also. So, but yeah, he's missed this one. Now it's going to be costly. Is the red going to be on into the left centre? Well, I don't think it is potable into the left centre. He may have got away with that, but it was a good opportunity for him to build up a nice, handsome lead.
Good match and an intriguing story, this one. Yes, of course, it was Taylor McManus and Wollaston by Lang Ning beat to book this 4th round of the qualifiers. Martin Gould beating Dwayne Jones 6-4. Pinner Potter's debut came back in 2009 against Mark Allen. Lost that one 10-6. So he's got a huge amount of Crucible experience, Martin Gould. And last year, Ken, many people fancied Maguire might get on a bit of a roll, because if you recall how well he played to register his first major title, the Maverick, First major crown since winning the Welsh in 13 when he won the Tour Championship in the strict bubble of Milton Keynes. What a performance that was. Gandolfini. Yeah, okay, I quite like that. So we've had Ken's Harry Potter, the guys in the club, the GOAT, snooker's Elton John, glasses in the earring, and was born in the same place. I do like that, DJ Gandolfini, but how do you succinctly sum that up in an introduction that can't really last more than about 25 seconds? I think at the moment we're just stuck with the Pinner Potter, but I think for some reason Ivan Hershevitz seems to think we should update that. So maybe we'll take the Elton John suggestion into account. I still like the GOAT myself, but
what about the Gap Gould? Because he's from Watford, isn't he? You know, so I don't know. Thinking aloud, Golden Boy Gould. I don't know. Somebody suggested that on Twitter. What about Golden Boy Gould?
Golden Boy Gould, yeah, okay.
The Gap. Mind the Gap. Mind the gap. Here he comes. Mind the Gap. It's Martin Gould. Yeah.
No, you'd have to put it in between the two names, wouldn't you, for the alliteration? He's Martin, Mind the Gap Gould.
I don't know, it's got a bit. He's from Watford, isn't he? The
Yes,
Watford
yes.
Gap, so it's got a bit of a ring to it. Oh, this looks good. This looks very good. What about that for a shot? Great shot with the rest. 4 cushions, perfect on the red. And now we could go up for pink or blue here. Won't be able to hold for the black. I mean, when you think about it, being, you know, was he lost 8 or 9 first round? That was last season. This season hasn't played. How many tournaments has he played this season? Probably none at all.
None. This is his first one.
So it makes this run even more incredible.
I know.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible to have turned it on. And you know, think about how well Alan Taylor played last year. I believe his run here at the Institute last summer maintained his tour status, and didn't he have a 1.45?
Yeah.
Or was it 1.46? He was in line until John Higgins had the silent max. That was so strange, by the way, wasn't it? A silent maximum at the Crucible. It was just bizarre. It was almost, when you were watching Higgins produce that, it was almost as if it wasn't happening, because there was just no noise whatsoever. But anyway, you know, Alan Taylor is no mug on the table, so that was a brilliant first round win for Bai Langning in the qualies. And then, as you say, you know, under a little bit of pressure, bit of television interest, the match between him and Alan McManus, and then coming from 4-1 down to beat Ben Wollaston with breaks of 96, 78 and a couple of 74s. He's been brilliant value for this for this opportunity. Really has.
Absolutely. He's a bit unlucky there, actually. He got a horrendous kick. It just look where the cue ball stopped. He's not on the pink. He's not on the black. He's looking at the blue into the top right hand corner.
Blue ball.
Great pot. Wonderful pot.
Zhao Xian Tong is in the 7th on a break of 25. So Sam Craigie
that's another
reducing that lead to 4-2.
He's got some good balls there. He's got nothing really to show for. He's still slightly out of position. Anywhere away from that left hand side cushion would have been nice, but you can only just drop the yellow in and then play another pot from range.
Alexander Ursenbacher on a break of 23, trying to reduce arrears and draw level with Ali Carter. Carter leading 3-2 at the moment on table 2. Just a quick reminder, if you prefer traditional coverage, you can watch elsewhere on the Eurosport app. Table 1, which is the ball run, Stuart Bingham against Luca Bracel.
This guy has potted some balls in this break. It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Well, I mean, it just goes to show how well he's playing, because those last 3 pots have been absolutely top quality.
He's off the lampshades.
Yeah.
Reminds me, do you remember what Judd was like in 11, Ken? That was that was ridiculous. It was one style snooker, and it absolutely scorched him all the way to the final.
Yeah.
Almost won him the title.
Should have won it, shouldn't he?
What an atmosphere there was that night for the final session of the final on the Monday evening. Never heard anything like it. What a composed visit this is proving to be.
Yeah, this has been
amazing,
fantastic.
Ken.
Yeah, really good, really top quality. So he just needs red and colour really to secure this first frame. He's done all the hard work. I don't think he's going to fall down now. Yeah, well played by Lang Ning. So he's going to go 4-2 up in that match. Surprise and score. Obviously, Martin Gould would have been big favourite, but this young boy from China, 18 only, is keeping up his standards this week that he's shown. Fantastic stuff so far.
Oh, mate, absolutely amazing. I mean, what it would be if he rescues his professional status in one tournament by coming here and beating 4 really decent players. That would be quite some way to do it.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely amazing.
I see Bingham has levelled things up.
Yep.
On table 1.
Yes, that's good work. So we're back to 3 apiece. I think the next place to go is table 8, as Chris Wakelin is behind, but he's at the table with an opportunity perhaps to continue this great momentum. Xiao Guodong has the lead in this frame, but it's Wakelin who's got the match momentum at the moment. Maybe we cursed him there.
Well, it's not going to be straightforward, this, is it? Look where that red is, right behind the black on the top cushion. Yeah, good shot to get out on the black, but I don't think he'd be playing for the red down the rail. I think he's going to play the snooker, just pot the black, play a good snooker, and put the pressure back on his opponent.
So while he contemplates his next shot, Ali Carter at the table, over on 2. Reds look reasonably well spaced for the captain. Welsh Open champion back in 2009, trying to turn 3-2 into 4-2 against Alexander Ursenbacher. Bai Lang Ning's break there was 87, by the way, for 4-2. Brilliant stuff from the would-be debutant. Mark Joyce on a break of 62, just about to ensure the first frame after the mid-session interval. Tied at 2 apiece. Figueiredo now requiring snookers in that one, so it's a good start after the break for Mark Joyce. Both of them chasing a debut, of course. Very tight in the 7th between Stephen Hallworth and Gary Wilson.
Ricky Walden in again on a break of 34 in that 7 frame, already leading 5 frames to 1.
Sam Craigie behind in the 7th against Xiao Xin Tong. Trails by 12, but he's on a break of 27.
A nice little escape there from Chris Wakeland, just glancing the red. He's put Gudong now under a little bit of pressure, even though he has a 30-point lead. I mean, if he sticks this red up anywhere, it could cost him the frame. He's so careful. Oh, that was a nice little double kiss, wasn't it? Look at that.
He'll take that.
How do you like those apples? We could be in trouble here though, because Chris Wakeland can play this with a lot of right hand side, hit the cushion first, then the red, knock the red back up into balk, and hopefully try and get the snooker behind the black. So it's not a difficult shot, this.
Mark Joyce with a century, and 1 red still on the table, so it could be a very handsome break. Possible 1-3-5.
Yeah.
For the debutant on table 3.
Chris just didn't get enough of the red, just didn't swerve that cue ball enough. Sort of caught it quarter ball as opposed to half ball, so left it. Possible pot here for Zhao Gudong. No. Quite a long way away as well. Now, has he left it or has he got the snooker again? Has he been lucky? He certainly has. He'll settle for that. The cue ball was always coming back down this way towards the black, but he's had a nice little bit of fortune.
Ricky Walden's at the table with a sizable break. He's about to go 6-1. This is turning out to be a very, very tough day indeed for Ryan Day. He'll have to remind himself that Mark Davis came back from 7-2 down against Jamie Clark, Ryan's compatriot, yesterday. Not out of it yet, but it's looking an ominously difficult task for the Dynamite over on table 4.
Can he cut the red in? I think it is cuttable. Yeah, good shot. That'll be frame. Mark Joyce. Oh, nice century from him, eh?
2 balls left for the 1-3-5. Just 11 in it between Xiao Xin Tong and Sam Craigie, with only 1 red left on the table.
Let's go to that match, will we? Sam Craigie against Xiao Xin Tong.
Yes. Xiao Gudong looks like he's over the line in that one against Chris Wakeland, so 4-3. Fascinating situation.
A little bit slow pace with the cue ball, but he's okay. He's got the blue and the yellow to follow, so that brown is going to be the pivotal ball in this frame. I wonder, can he leave an angle when potting this blue and leave an angle on the yellow that he could take the brown out? No.
8.
Oh, he struck that nicely, didn't he? Now, what's he going to do? What do you think, Rob? Will he play to try and knock the brown out, or will he just try and knock the cue ball, try and get in behind the brown and leave an angle to pot the brown into the corner pocket? But not easy from brown to blue, is it? What do you reckon?
I think he goes bold. I think he tries to get it out.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, what a shot he's played there.
Brilliant.
Good call, Rob. Commentator's eye. I'm impressed. You don't have a commentator's eye for pizza, particularly putting pineapple on it. But you
come
do.
on. Listen, Doherty. We're going to have to... it's the magic ingredient on a pizza. You wouldn't believe the amount of tweets that subject about what we wanted on a pizza generated, and a pineapple, highly contentious. But when you used, in the old days when we went to, we're not that dissimilar in age, when you used to go to a children's party and there was the chunk of cheese and the pineapple on a stick, did you tuck in?
No, I do like pineapple, but just not on pizzas.
Okay. The pineapple debate runs and runs, but yeah, that was really bold on the brown.
Yeah, great shot
from Zhao. Superb.
No, well played. Good clearance. Very, very good clearance to go 5-2.
Good stuff there from Zhao Xiantong. And a moment or two ago, we had excellent stuff on table 3 from Mark Joyce. We were talking about the big break. Here's his last 3 balls for the 1-3-5. Chasing a dream debut at the Crucible. Never been there. Riga Masters runner-up. Lost out to Yan Bing Tiao, 2019. A couple of UK quarterfinals. Missed out on Judgment Day a couple of times. In 2010 and 2013, he's in front with that 1-3-5. Ricky Walden turning the screw here on Ryan Dynamite Day. Ryan is yet to ignite in this Judgment Day match. Louis Heathcote 6-5. That's a better win than it may have appeared on paper, by the way, because Louis Heathcote beat Ali Carter in the last 80 of the qualifiers last summer. So that was how Ricky Walden got himself 5 frames clear for 6-1. Right, just checking out the scores. Can we go to... Let's go to table 8. Chris Wakelin and Zhao Guodong. Keep your questions, your comments coming along. Chris Wakelin has done brilliantly to get himself 4-2 in front. So this is quite an important frame for Zhao Guodong, who obviously has the edge here. Oh dear.
How unlucky was that?
That is brutal.
Free ball as well, I think. I think I think the frame is over.
Yep.
Yeah, you call it, yeah.
Yep,
very
so
unlucky.
4-3, that was unlucky. I'm glad in a funny kind of way that we got to see that. Right, where are we? Oh, let's go and join Stuart Bingham, table 1. Now, the last time we saw him,
108 in the frame.
He was on a break of 140. The last time we saw him getting a big one on the board. At another century, keeping very close order on Luca Bracel. Right, just having a quick look at the scores. Gary Wilson 5-2 up. Carter 4-2 up. Ricky Walden's in the balls again. Right, we've been bringing you these Crucible Chronicles, these animations with legends and world champions giving us their memories and their funny stories of matches and moments that stick in their mind from the sport's spiritual home. We promised you Neil Robertson's about an hour or so ago, but there was a flick of fingers on the buttons and we got Ken's instead. Let's see if we can hear from the Thunder from Down Under on one of his more amusing Crucible Chronicle memories. Here's Big Robbo.
It was the World Championships at the Crucible in 2008. I remember winning my first round match. I went back to Cambridge, came back up for my last 16 match against Stephen Maguire, prepared really well, and I remember getting ready in my hotel room, having a shower, getting ready, and putting waistcoat on, trousers and everything, bow tie, got my cue. Oh, where are my shoes? Oh, they must be by the door. No, they're not there. I just checked my suitcase. Oh, no, they're not in there. Okay. Panic starts to set in, and I'm playing my match in about 45, 50 minutes. I remember getting to the Crucible and stepping out of the car, and I'm wearing my full waistcoat and bow tie, trousers on and everything, and a pair of trainers. And I remember my friend who was with me at the time started laughing and goes, "Oh, Neil's got to find a pair of shoes." He said it to one of our other friends. A few people who were outside the Crucible sort of heard that, and then they started following me around as I walked across the street to go to a shoe store. So then they came in with their camera phones and they're like recording me trying on these different pairs of shoes. And I finally settled on a pair which I thought they looked absolutely horrendous, but they weren't too uncomfortable at the time. So I was thinking, well, maybe I can get past this match and then I'll buy a new pair. And I lost the first frame, the second frame, the third frame. Now I'm starting to think about these shoes like, oh, they must look absolutely terrible on TV, and ended up being 8-0 down. The commentators were actually talking about that I had a different pair of shoes, and that word got round the venue that I was 20 minutes before I was playing. I was in a shoe shop buying shoes, and Django called me up, my manager, and he said, "What is this that I hear that you forgot your shoes?" I remember him saying, he goes, "Well, I bet you didn't forget your hair straighteners, did you?" And I was like, "Nah." And so he absolutely grilled me there, and I lost 13-7, and I've never ever forgotten my shoes going back up to the Crucible.
Brilliant. I think those Crucible Chronicles are absolutely superb, and no wonder he got a little bit of a ticking off there from Django. We are talking about the same Neil Robertson, and when you hear the story about this, it is a little more understandable than it may first appear. Neil Robertson went to the wrong Barnsley. Now, I have some sympathy for him because the Barnsley that he put into his sat-nav by mistake is a tiny village, about 4 miles away from where I live. And I've laughed to myself a few times when I've cycled past. I've cycled to Barnsley, albeit only a couple of minutes. And when he put the wrong Barnsley into his sat-nav, out of sheer coincidence, it was roughly the same length of time in the car to each Barnsley.
Oh, really?
So that's why when he looked, he'd always had a mate give him a lift. So when he looked and it said 2.5 hours, he thought, "Oh yeah, that's about right." But when he got, I mean, there's nothing around where we live. It's just a load of fields and tractors and farms. And I could just imagine, like, if I'd had his mobile number and he'd have rung me, I could have invited him around for a cup of tea. But anyway, so he's gone to the wrong Barnsley. He's forgotten his shoes. He'll do no such thing when it comes to the World Championship. And we'll pick a table in just a moment. Ken, I think he's one of my hot favourites. I thought his second session from 4-all to 10-4 against Ronaldo for the Tour Championship title was nothing short of extraordinary.
Yeah, I thought he played superbly well. His long potting, break building, and even his safety was just top notch. His cue action, his gun barrel straight cue action is just, second to none. I mean, it's just fantastic. Yeah, and when he's on form, when those long pots are going in, and when he's scoring, he's going to be. Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the favourites, of course, at the Crucible. And on current form, you might make him even favourite.
Yep, I would agree with that. Let's head back to table 5 whilst we're waxing lyrical about Neil Robertson. What a story this is turning out to be. Bai Lang Ning is in again against the Pinner Potter.
62.
So 4-2
62.
is quickly going to become 5-2. This has the potential, Ken, to be one of the stories coming out of the English Institute of Sport over the last 9 days.
Completely agree. The fact that he hasn't played a match this season, he's recalled back from his family, back to China during this COVID time, and then to come and produce this performance all this week has been extraordinary. Still got a long way to go. I mean, there's a lot to be said for momentum. When you get a bit of confidence, you win a few matches, and then You know, and that's exactly what's happened here. But it's just, I've been very, very impressed with him. I must say his temperament as well has been top notch.
77.
Xiao Guodong, by the way, is in the balls once again. Remember how well Chris Wakelin had played to get himself 4-2 in front. Xiao Guodong went 4-3. He's on a break of 17. Ryan Day is on a break of 54. He's had a torrid afternoon against Ricky Walden, trailing 6-1. So only a couple of reds left on the table. Ricky got 21 on the board early in that frame, so he's almost there in that one, Ryan Day. But what a performance this is from the 18-year-old.
Yeah, magnificent. He's going to be guaranteed a lead as well going into this evening's session. It's just a matter now of how big that lead will be. So, big couple of frames coming up for both players. Martin Gould doesn't want to let him get too far ahead. Got to try and stay in touch and hope that he shows some sort of pressure tonight. But at the moment, Byline Ning is playing very, very freely indeed.
Gary Wilson and Stephen Hallworth into their final frame of the session. Wilson 6-2 up and he's in the balls. Stuart Bingham's 4-3 up now on Luca Bracel. And in the 8th, he's at the table on a break of 43. I think we'll head over. We'll just wait and see if he can complete the colours here, the 18-year-old. And when this frame comes to an end, we'll head over and join Ryan Day and Ricky Walden to see whether Ryan can get over the line and turn 6-1 into 6-2. Red and all the colours still on the table. This is absolutely brilliant. 18 years of age, playing as if he hasn't got a care in the world, and his tour card's on the line. Doesn't matter about the black. Needs the toilet. Well, absolutely brilliant performance. Right, Ryan Day, Ricky Walden. Ricky at the table. That's pretty useful.
Possible situation. Ryan Day 35 points in the lead, but have a look where the pink and black are. No chance of Ricky getting a black from the last red. So might be one of those situations where you would try and, as if your opponent needs a snooker. So what he could do is just drop the red in or over the pocket here and forces the opponent to pot the red, and he'll have to pot yellow, green, brown or blue with it, but he'll need a snooker.
Luca Bracel now needs snookers in the 8th. Bingham on a break of 74.
That's an incredible turnaround, isn't it, from Stuart Bingham? I mean, he's had a couple of centuries and now he's on. He could make another century here. Great scoring from Stuart Bingham.
Producing his best on table 1 just when he needs it against Luca Bracel. Not quite 6-2 yet for Gary Wilson, but he's looking good in that frame against Stephen Hallworth. Carter 4-2 up on Urson Backer on table 2. Xiao Guodong, by the way, broke down on 17, trying to tie things up at 4 frames apiece. Wakelin's at the table on a break of 22 now. He's played a really good match this afternoon, Chris Wakelin. I think it's worth sticking with this one because
it's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean,
it's key time of the match.
Yeah. Ricky will obviously try and... Oh, well, that could make a difference, big difference. So now he definitely needs a snooker. So now, Ryan, you should definitely try and knock the red over the corner pocket. Force your opponent into potting it. Because situation where the pink and black is. If you can try and knock the red, Ricky Walden, down towards that pink and black, there's always a possibility that you could knock the pink in. Doesn't want to knock the brown in. Would have been a free ball and everything there. The full house.
I wonder if it's worth just nipping across and seeing if Stuart Bingham can finish the colours. He's on for another 140. We'll come back to this one. Ryan Day in a commanding position, not quite over the line yet. Right. Stuart Bingham has found his scoring boots here against Luca Bracel.
180.
Guaranteeing himself a lead when they come back tonight. 5 o'clock we resume.
122.
We'll bring you everything. What are we on now? About half one? Yep, 136, 135.
It's really top quality stuff, isn't it, from Stuart Bingham?
Superb snooker. Went on a late charge this spring, Ken, to try and leapfrog his way into the 16, and you could tell that a little bit of form was coming. Masters semi-finals, German and Players Championship quarter-finals. Let's go back to Ricky Walden against Ryan Day on 4. Ah, okay, they've just finished, in fact, so Ryan has taken that one and he needed it, 6-2. Just having a look. Gary Wilson quite close to getting over the line. Table 6, please. Stuart Bingham 5-3. Stephen Hallworth. 3 matches.
20.
Dean Young, David Grace and Jordan Brown. From 3-0 down he beat Jordan. What a win that was at the Welsh for Jordan Brown. One of the most amazing matches I've ever been involved with in 14 years on the circuit. But anyway, it was Stephen Hallworth who won that one. But he's coming under some pressure here, Ken, because Gary Wilson is showing the kind of class that has taken him to the World Championship semi-finals.
Yeah. Starting to come into a bit of form, Gary Wilson. He struggled a little bit over the last season and a half, you would say. But yeah, when he gets going, quality player. But Stephen Hallworth, yeah, big last frame for him, just to keep in touch. Last frame of the session, really needs to win it. Just be 6-3 behind as opposed to being 7-2. So, but Gary Wilson scoring pretty well today.
40.
Nicely done by Gary Wilson.
Yeah, this frame is over, Rob. Let's where we go somewhere else.
What about table 2, Ersenbacher and Ali Carter? Ersenbacher has the lead in the frame, but Carter is at the table and leads 4 frames to 2.
Well,
we'll keep a close eye on this latest frame between Chris Wakelin and Xiao Guo Dong as well over on table 8. Mark Joyce in a commanding position in frame 6 against Igor Figueiredo. 3-2 up.
No.
Hoping to double his lead. This has been a positive performance from Ali Carter against a tricky opponent so far this afternoon.
Yeah. Quick look at the scoreboard.
16.
The fact that the brown is sort of blocking the path of the yellow into the top left-hand corner pocket, it just might cause a problem. It's depending on last red to colour.
70.
I'm not quite sure we can get in behind the red here, so you may have to play it with the rest.
24.
Would have preferred to been straighter on this. So he could play for pink or blue here. It looks like he wants to play for the pink. Once again, he has to get on it pretty nicely to get on that yellow, because it's only available into the green pocket. Oh, he's missed the red. Missed the red. He's got away with it.
Ali Carter, 24.
Or has he? Missed opportunity. He'd be disappointed, Ali Carter.
You could tell he was annoyed with himself by his body language.
Yeah.
Not easy though.
No, it's a little bit of a stretch, isn't it? I don't think he's going to take this red on, to be honest.
Sam Craigie on a break of 32, trying to take the last of the session this afternoon against Zhao Xin Tong and reduce his deficit to just 1, trailing 5-3. Ryan Day's at the table again on a break of 13, having moved from 6-1 down to 6-2 against Ricky Walden. Well done, Alexander Ursenbacher.
Yeah, wonderful shot. Actually hit it too well. Wanted to be bottom side of the pink so he could just drop onto the yellow, but can he get around this table with all the top spin and back around for the yellow? This would be some shot. Wow, this is some shot. Great effort. Needs to go, the cue ball. What a shot he's played there. To get that far up the table was fantastic. Now he won't be taking the yellow on because I don't think he can avoid the kiss on the brown, but what he might do is lay a nice little snooker.
Alexander Ursenbacher, 7.
Very good.
Just keeping my eye on that Ryan Day break, which is now up to 26. They're in their last of the session. So too Gary Wilson and Stephen Hallworth. Wilson's in first in their 9th frame. Sam Craigie's break now moves to 39. It's Igor Figueiredo and Mark Joyce who are the slowest of the matches so far. That was only a whisker away, that yellow.
These frames can make such a difference, you know. When you look back at a match and you've seen how the match plays out, these tight frames where you've had a chance, your opponent's had a chance, but you've managed to sort of just nick it on the colours. Very good shot, good effort. Just a little bit hard.
He knows how close that
He
was to
does,
being
yeah.
almost impossible. Wilson's break 33 now in the 9th. Craigie on 46.
It looks like Gudong has won that frame as well, so he's reduced the deficit.
Ryan Day's break has come to an end. Looked really promising for a 6-3 there. Still plenty of life left in that frame.
Yeah, it's going to go 4-all now between Wakelin and Gudong. Very closely fought match.
Foul. Ali Carter 4.
That's going to be very costly for Alexander Ursenbacher. Getting off and also taking the green out. Ball in hand. Not much to do for Ali Carter. He's been a bit unlucky here, Alex Ursenbacher. He had Carter in a lot of trouble when he snookered him on the brown.
Yes, that was unlucky. Ali Carter will be a happy man if he can get over the line in this frame. And suddenly there's 3 frames of daylight between himself and the Swiss player who made his Crucible debut 8 months ago.
5.
Mark Joyce 4-2 up now against Igor Figueiredo. 3 left to play for them this afternoon, but remember Martin Clark said he won't be keen on frames starting much after 3 o'clock, so it will depend on how quick their next 2 are.
Nine.
So that will be that. 5-2 for Ali Carter. That's an excellent lead with 2 left to play this afternoon.
Ali
Let's
Carter,
jump
14
across to
and
table
3.
7. Sam Craigie's on a break of 46. In fact, that frame has just finished. Strange, because our score still says 46. Anyway, here we are. Scoreboard must have frozen. In fact, it hasn't finished, I think. Has it finished? Well, the scoreboard must have frozen then, so there we go. 5-4. What a beautifully poised match that is. And that is a great end to the afternoon for Sam Craigie. He trailed 3-0 early on. He was in a spot of bother. Let's join table 4. Ryan Day against Ricky Walden. Ryan trying to close the gap on the runaway leader, Ricky Walden, who went very well in the early stages. He has an opportunity here. Ryan was in on a useful looking break. Now it's a chance for Ricky to ensure that it's 7-2 instead of 6-3. Big difference.
He's held that nicely, that cue ball, hasn't he? He's on pink or black here. He's found the gap between those two reds for the black into the corner. Held the black spot nicely, purposely. Oh, has he? Brandon Moore getting the marker out. Looks like he's held the black spot. Must be close. Oh, it is close. He's going to put the black back on the spot. Wow. Now, will he be on this red, Ricky Walden? No. No, it doesn't go. Yeah, big frame here, isn't it? 7-2, 6-3.
Well, that was Stephen Hallworth's attempt coming to an end to nick that last frame of the session. Gary Wilson making sure of a handsome lead before they come back in what is just around about 3 hours' time. 7-2. Wilson 3 frames away from a third appearance at the Crucible. First round in 2017, and then all the way to the semis 2 years ago. Hard to believe, Ken, talking about semi-finals, Ricky Walden's was way back in 2013. I can remember that clearly. Yeah. I think, if I remember rightly, I think either his niece or nephew came to the match. That was way before his own children were born.
Yeah.
Brilliant run to the last 4. But 8 years ago, where does the time go?
Yeah.
Jeepers creepers.
26.
Maybe we're getting old.
In fact, I remember him talking to me about after that semi-final how much he was sort of drained physically, you know, and that he felt that's why he sort of wanted to start the running and build up himself up physically, so that if he did get to that stage again, that he'd be physically prepared as well as mentally prepared. I'm trying to think of who he lost to in that fight. Was that Barry Hawkins he lost to in the semi-final that year?
Yes, it was. He beat Michael Holt, Rob Milkins, Michael White, and then lost to Barry Hawkins. Because if you remember, yeah, that could be
how close that was.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, what a lifeline. Sorry, Rob. Lifeline for Ryan Day there. Yeah, go on. Rob
I'm just
Milkins.
going to say it was Milkins in the second round because the Milkman has beaten Neil Robertson twice, and I remember the Milkman being really emotional in his post-match press conference, having knocked out Neil Robertson. So I'm not going to say it was an easier route for Ricky, but it was a different route because he probably would have been expecting, after beating Michael Holt that year, to have played Neil Robertson in the second round. 3 years after the Aussie had taken his inaugural world title, but it was the Milkman instead.
Yeah. And a chance for Ryan Day here. Wasn't an easy black. Ricky Walden's up into the green pocket, but well, it's a big difference. 5 frame gap, 3 frame gap. He'd be still, you know, on reflection, 6-3 if Ryan Day does go on to win the frame from here, and he's got a little bit to do, but I expect him to win the frame. Screw up for a ball colour here instead of the blue.
This is a great chance, Ken.
Yeah.
And you'd fancy. Okay, of course, after 10 minutes of calming down, Ricky says to himself, yep, if you'd have offered me 6-3 after the first session, I'd have bitten your hand off.
Yeah.
But don't you think psychologically, the man who comes in and nicks that last frame and suddenly thinks, hang on, I'm only 3 behind instead of 5.
Absolutely.
There's a little bit of a spring in the Ryan Day step.
Yeah, completely, and that's what I'm saying. We'll see tonight how this match will pan out, and if Ricky Walden does lose this frame, how crucial that black that he missed will prove to be. It'll be interesting, but winning this frame will certainly give Ryan Day that little bit of hope for tonight, for sure. 7-2 against someone like Ricky Walden's class, you wouldn't give him much chance, but certainly at 6-3, you certainly would. But a little bit to do. This cue ball has to travel. Yeah, it's not too bad. So he's just gone 3 points in the lead. So he needs green, brown, and blue. Shaking himself up, composing himself. Yeah, brown goes in, he's on the blue, so it will be 6-3 to Ricky Walden when they resume tonight in a few hours time. 5 p.m. of course, next session starts, so it'll be a relieved Ryan Day. He hasn't played well this morning, but Ricky Walden has played very well. He's definitely value for 6-3.
Yes, a deserved lead for Ricky, but that mistake from him has reduced those arrears for Ryan Day. Plenty to ponder for both of them. Now, this has turned out to be an absolute humdinger of a match between Chris Wakelin and Zhao Gudong. Zhao Gudong has levelled at 4 apiece. Chris here is the man who's had the early momentum in their last of the session. And he would love to re-establish a slender lead before coming back tonight.
I remember that match, Rob, and I'm sure you remember it well, how close that he pushed Judd Trump all the way in that last time. I think that he was at the Crucible, Chris Wakelin. Was it 10-9 in the end?
Yep, it was 2018. He was 7-4 down and forced a decider. He certainly... I always think, Ken, you need to look at the score quite carefully when somebody loses when they're expected to on a Crucible debut, because the Wakelin example is quite an important one. You glance at the thing, say, oh yeah, okay, Chris Wakelin made his debut, thrashed by Judd Trump. No, when you look at that, it tells you that he's really got some composure about him to not wilt from a 7-4 scoreline. In the back of his mind, the bad monkey on his shoulders saying, yeah, okay, you've taken 4 frames off the guys, coming into great form, that's fine. No, it's not fine. I think I can win the match.
Yeah.
And you force some uncomfortable moments on the top class players. I think that showed that he's got a bit, Chris Wakelin.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that he didn't really push on a lot more from that result and get a lot of confidence from it. Very, very steady player and good cue action.
Beat Pei Fan Lee 6-5 and Matthew Stevens 6-3 to get through to Judgment Day. Lost out last summer to Martin Gould 6-4 in the penultimate round, the round before Judgment Day. I wonder how significant his run to the quarters in Gibraltar would have been. Well, it wasn't in Gibraltar, it was in Milton Keynes, but you know what I mean. That was his 4th ranking event quarter-final. Indian Open in 15, English Open 16, Riga 18. He beat Nigel Bond, Chang Bing Yu, who we saw play yesterday, another brilliant 18-year-old Chinese player. Then he beat Selby and Jimmy White before losing to a rejuvenated Matt Selt in the quarters. Selt then went on to force Judd Trump to play very well in the semis before Judd took his 5th ranking title of the season, 4-0 against Jack Lisowski. But yeah, the timing of that run to the quarters from Wakelin, shows that, you know, he will have brought some confidence to this qualification campaign.
Yeah, I certainly think so. I know he has been struggling almost fell off the tour as well. But he plays in the same club, doesn't he? In Mark Selby up in Nuneaton. The Attack Club there, owned by Ian and Sonia, of course. I'm sure they're watching. So, yeah, he looks to be back to a little bit of form, Chris Wakelin now. Good to see.
Great work as he heads off for a 3-hour break. Bite to eat, fresh air. Lovely, clear, crisp day in Sheffield. Not that we've seen much daylight over the last sort of 4 hours, but lovely day up here. So many. I don't know about you, Ken. When you come up to Sheffield every spring, there's so many trees in bloom. By the time you go home, you can get some cold days early on, especially if you come here for the qualies as well, and it's a 3-week or 4-week trip instead of 17 days. By the time you go home, you always think, summer's here. So
Yeah.
that transition period from late spring
yeah.
to the full bloom of summer, and there's so many trees around Sheffield. I absolutely love coming up here. It's a fantastic city.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, hasn't it, over the years, and changed for the good. They've really done a lot of good to the city, particularly around that Peace Gardens. You got the Winter Gardens there as well, where the studio will be. But there's just the wonderful atmosphere in the city with the people here. There's people from Sheffield, and also even from, you know, all the crowds that come to the Crucible every year. They just bring a wonderful atmosphere, and the city really embraces it, doesn't it? It has done. And it's a great supporter of the World Championships.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. In a wonderful county. They say God's own county for Yorkshire, don't they? So, not the total clearance, but total class. Finishing with a ton. Chris Wakelin heads off with a slender lead. Back on table 1. If you want to watch traditional coverage with uninterrupted commentary, you can flick around elsewhere on the Eurosport app. Very good afternoon if you're with us via the World Snooker Tour Facebook or YouTube channels, or the Sportsman's Facebook or YouTube. Stuart Bingham has scored magnificently in this match thus far, and this would really hurt Luca
31.
Bracel if it's 6-3 instead of 5-4.
Yeah, it certainly would.
32.
This will be 5 in a row if he does manage to make this frame. It's been wonderful stuff from Stuart Bingham. Very high quality standard he's shown from 3-1 down. Luca Bracel hasn't done much wrong, to be honest.
39.
Key shot will be, if he plays for the pink here, it's pink to yellow. Probably play on the yellow for the top left hand corner pocket.
40.
Now this is the shot. He wants to land it in an area just right of the green spot. Doesn't want to go too far. Just overshot it a little bit.
46.
Quick
Quiet,
look at the
please.
score. He's 12 points in the lead. Yeah, I want to be straighter on this yellow, but still okay. You can pot the yellow and just doesn't want to leave too much of an angle on the green.
48.
Yeah, that's okay. Nicely played. Use the brown just to cushion the path of the cue ball, but needs green and brown. Yeah, good
51.
stuff. Very, very good stuff from Stuart Bingham. he's one of those players, if he does get through this match, and I know there's a long way to go, but he's one of those players at the top 16, I think we'll be looking at the draw and say he's one of those names that, you know, they'd like to avoid in the first round.
He's a nightmare first round opponent. I mean, imagine 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and this is absolutely no disrespect to Luca Bracel, because of course he could come back this afternoon and this evening rather and win the match, but imagine first round Saturday morning, Bingham against O'Sullivan. It'd be unbelievable in a first round match. In quality and CV and prestige, that would be good enough to be a major final.
Stuart Bingham, 55.
I still think we're going to have a few close finishes tonight. We didn't have too many last night, 1-10-8, but I think just the position of a lot of the matches at the moment. I mean, we've a couple of 5-4s. Xiao Xintong, Sam Craigie 5-4, Chris Wakelin, Gu Dong 5-4.
Even that Ricky Walden Ryan Day match. Now that Ryan's nicked that last one, 6-3. You know, that who's to say? You know, Ryan has the momentum of winning the snooker shootout, and you know, springing his step after taking the last of the session. Who's to say that doesn't go really tight?
Yeah, but there's been no 7-2 leads. There's that 1-7-2 lead. Kerry Wilson, of course, against Stephen Hallworth. He's the only 7-2 so far. But a wonderful session of snooker for Stuart Bingham. That second session from 3-1 down, he's really turned this match around. 6-3, he now leads Luca Bracel.
He has. Very good indeed. Right, let's have a little look at table 2. Ali Carter in the balls and has the momentum, 5-2 up. This is them in the 8th.
7.
9 scheduled this afternoon. The slowest match is Igor Figueiredo and Mark Joyce. Igor playing on in the 7th frame. And now it's just finished. He needed a fair number of snookers. Mark Joyce is pulling away in that one. He's 5-2 up. Martin Gould at the table, over on 5, trying to claw his way back against the 18-year-old Bai Lang Ning, who leads 5 frames to 3. So we'll see if Ali Carter makes short work of this frame. And maybe we'll
13.
We'll head over to table 5 in just a moment.
14.
Quite a few of these tables have finished then. Ken mentioned the 2 5-4s. Xiao Xintong, 1 up against Sam Craigie, 5-4. Chris Wakelin, 1 up on Xiao Guodong, also 5-4. Gary Wilson with that commanding 7-2 lead. Stuart Bingham 6-3 up on Luca Bracel. Ricky Walden 6-3 up on Ryan Day.
20.
Just the 3 matches still continuing this afternoon, edging their way towards
21.
their allotted 9. This has been an excellent session of snooker from Ali Carter.
Yeah, he looks pretty good, doesn't he? Pretty confident. That was a big frame, wasn't it? That last frame. Could have been 4-3.
6.
Alexander Orsenbach is a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, going in off, that was off the yellow, was really harsh, wasn't it?
27.
And if Ali Carter continues in this confident manner and gets over the line, he's another nightmare name for the top seeds.
Yeah, I think any of those lads, you know, that have played at the Crucible for a number of years, been in the top 16, won tournaments, they're the ones that you want to avoid as a top 16 player. You want to play someone who hasn't been at the Crucible or has been there for the first time.
34.
You know, hasn't been there for quite a number of years. You don't mind sort of playing those because it does take a little bit of settling into the Crucible. But these lads, bags of experience and, of course, success at the Crucible as well. Won lots of matches. Ali Carter, 2 finals, 147. A lot of great memories for him there.
41.
A lot of tough memories as well. Of course, losing, you know, even though you get to the final, you're still not happy. But of course, it's the journey of getting there as well that will create a lot of memories of the final match itself. Well, he looks in great form.
48.
Yeah, this is ominous for Alexander Ursenbacher, for whom perhaps this break, when they finish their 9, will come at a good time, because this is a little period of one-way traffic in this match.
Yeah, so just like the last match there for Ryan Day, this big frame coming up, isn't it, for Ursenbacher to give him some sort of hope for tonight.
Yes, if he can get out of this session 6-3 with the way Carter's played over the last hour or so, I think he'd take that.
63.
After this, we'll head over to table 5 to see the end of the final frame of the afternoon between
66.
Lang Ning and Martin Gould. Gould trying to reduce his deficit to 1 before they return.
70.
So a potential break of 88.
75.
Black on the brown spot.
81.
Brilliant from Ali Carter.
Ali Carter.
Big significance for Ursenbacher in their 9th and final frame. Uncomfortable viewing. Right, table 5. Bai Lang Ning has been superb value in this, by far the biggest match of his career, and only his 4th of the entire season. Mark Joyce and Igor Figueiredo have just begun their 8th frame, so they, depending on how slow they are, they may well get, they should get their 9 allotted away this afternoon before they resume at 5. Ken, as we're watching Martin Gould try to close in on this frame, decent lead, but a fair bit left to do. That'll help. Do you think that some players will find it really strange coming back to a situation where they've got
crowds,
a decent sized crowd, especially when it gets to I think we're due to be about 75% full for the semis. Do you think going back to that from the deafening silence of a year of you know, albeit we were all so grateful to be in Milton Keynes and at the Celtic Manor, do you think that'll take some a little bit of getting used to again?
Yeah, I think they'll relish it, to be honest. I think they're all looking forward to playing in front of crowds again. I think yeah, it might take a little bit of getting used to it, but I think it's a great welcome return, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I think playing in front of crowds, I think it will definitely inspire them all, because I mean that's what sport is all about, and that's what playing at the Crucible is all about. But the fact that the crowd sort of encapsulates you, you know, and the whole arena does, and the fact that they're so close to you as well, it just creates an atmosphere like no other tournament. So I think they'll be all really looking forward to it, and I think we are, even, you know, as pundits and stuff like that, just to see crowds and see that atmosphere and experience that atmosphere again.
24. 25.
Yes, it was. I'll never ever forget how strange it was after we lost the crowds on. We had crowds for day 1 last summer, and then walking across Tudor Square when with all the there was virtually nobody on site, hardly anyone from Eurosport, nobody from the BBC other than, you were there for a couple of days, and then it was myself and Joe Perry and Alan McManus, and Radzi was there. But it was so strange walking in every day across Tudor Square. It was as if it was as if it was Christmas Day. There was nothing, literally nothing open. It was so strange.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't bother me so much anymore because nobody watches me play now and anyway. So, yeah, even playing
48.
in the seniors the following week, with no crowds at the Crucible, just it was very, very strange.
That's right. Yes.
But it'll be completely different this year as Martin Gould wins this last frame of the session, and he'll be behind when they start out again at 5 o'clock. But it's the young Chinese player Bai Langning. He'll be leading Martin Gould 5 frames to 4 as they resume at 5 p.m.
Yep. Another 5-4 to go alongside Zhao Xintong against Craigie and Chris Wakelin against Zhao Guodong. We'll see some character from the 18-year-old tonight, if he is to make that fairy tale qualification and secure his tour status, having not played at all this season. Right, so we've only got the 2 tables left this afternoon.
I think he's done really well here, hasn't he, Mark Joyce?
Yeah,
I mean, from 2-1 down.
Yep.
He's really turned this match around.
He has, and we did make this point a couple of times that there is a fairy tale story potentially for Igor, making history for South America and Brazil and his own family. But from Mark Joyce's point of view, he's been around a long time. He's a ranking event finalist, lost to Yan Bingtao in the final of Riga in 2019. He's desperate to walk down those stairs for the first time, and he's giving himself a brilliant platform here. Desislava Bozilova in charge of this one. And we will keep half an eye on table 2 as well, because we're aware what a massive frame it could be for Alexander Ursenbacher, who could be staring down the barrel of a 7-2 against an ebullient Ali Carter, or might take a leaf out of Ryan Day's book, nick the last, and suddenly not feel too unhappy about life at 6-3 down. I think it's worth sticking with this one just for now.
25.
Yeah, and he's got these at least 3 open reds around the pink and black area that he can just concentrate on. That will take him up to 50 odd points. Going back up for the blue, it looks like here. So it's okay. Nicely judged.
Ursenbacher has just asked Colin Humphreys to clean the black.
31.
The reds are well spread. He's got the first opportunity, but he knows how key it is with the table split as it is to hold on to the momentum. We'll keep a close eye on that one.
30.
Well, Igor will be really disappointed with how this is panning out at the moment, Ken, because remember, what a way to get started with that 1-3-3. 2-1 up. And he's got a difficult task on his hands here.
Yeah, it's sometimes there's a couple of close frames there. Could have gone either way, couldn't they? But I think Mark Joyce is sort of uses his experience here in this match, and I think he's just started to score a little bit more. He's been very reluctant to get the black back on the spot throughout this whole break, and I think he's going to come unstuck because of it. Alexander Ursenbacher, he's in there nicely, and he's got plenty of reds available, so good chance for him to close it to 6-3.
I quite like the split screen approach. I don't mind that.
Yes, quite nice, isn't it?
In big city marathons, we do that all the time in commentary, where you might see a lead pack of elite women on one side and the leaders of the men on the other.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
It's a really big visit, this, for Erstenbacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
A very, very big visit. In exactly the same way that the final frame of the session will be huge for Igor if Mark Joyce finishes this off and re-emerges 6-2 up.